already know the answers, probably. They wouldn't waste their time otherwise, but at 10 o'clock today, and that's Eastern time, so it'll be 8 o'clock our time, then they will start the hearing called Foreign Influence in American Nonprofits, Unmasking Threats from Beijing and Beyond. The hearing will be broadcast online at the committee's website. Singham, Continental, and Breakthrough, BT Media, which published articles as Breakthrough News, didn't respond for comments for an article that I'm reading. They did not respond. Well, it looks like my streaming just went offline. At least that's what I think. Nope, I'm on. Normally I have these computer things all done. When I brought my computer up this morning, I brought it up late, and and there were messages on there that I had to do a restart before I brought it up. And Microsoft, you don't mess with that, because once you do, everything slows down so much. You wish you had done it. I had a phone call and missed it, so I'm not hitting 100 today. Let me see this thing. This investigation into Singham, they're alleging that it exploits U.S. nonprofits, the U.S. nonprofit laws to inject anti-American propaganda. Probably all true. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
You're hitting 99.
99? Yeah, I'm off the slow start.
99%.
I hate that. Been here for 2 hours. I don't look at my computer till 10 minutes up. But go ahead.
Sleeping on the job?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I'm researching, reading.
Well, I want to research this.
All right.
Governor Ron DeSantis.
Yeah.
He just did one of the biggest things for the United States populace there is.
What's that?
They pushed through the law in Florida. You will not drive anything, commercial or non-commercial, if you cannot proficiently understand the English language.
Wow. Now that's a first of its kind. Now, I know Trump just pushed that for a federal, truck driver's license, that you had to have English. But to pass it, because I'm sure there's a ton of drivers out there that don't understand English. In Yuma, there are.
I know for a fact. I've dealt with them.
Yeah.
Some of our local municipality agencies have drivers that can't read English or understand it.
Wow. You have to know English to fly an airplane. You know that?
I'm sorry, what?
You have to know English to fly an airplane, to get an airplane pilot.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much worldwide. I imagine there are some communist countries that might be different, but pretty much worldwide in the Western world, that English is it.
I consider any state legislature that doesn't do this for the state, any other states that don't comply to that, as an accessory to any injuries that occur from drivers who cannot understand the English language if they gave them driver's license.
Wow.
I consider that their accessories if they don't stop it.
Let me see, and I'm reading now since you mentioned. I didn't see that. That just passed the 6th, just a couple days ago.
Mm-hmm.
Knowledge and skills exam to be administered exclusively in English. Eliminates foreign language versions, interprets, and translation devices for all license types, including Class E license and commercial license. Wow.
And I consider if anybody, I understand ex post facto laws, but anybody driving out there with a driver's license that cannot speak or read English should have their license revoked immediately.
That's only happening in Florida
driver.
right now. We'll see what happens. I'm in favor. I don't know how much grace period we give people to catch up, because we've allowed it for so long.
Right. Well, like I say, I consider any legislature that doesn't amend this immediately as accessories to anything that happens because of an operator that can't read or speak the English language.
Now, see, I don't
proficiently.
I just, I've done a little driving overseas. I don't speak the language. I mean, I went to Ireland. I don't speak Celtic.
I was going to make that.
Yeah.
See, over there, they don't have cup holders. They have bottle holders.
I don't find that to be true, but okay. I was surprised I didn't see more drunk Irishmen. See, I always had that image, which is profiling, but I just didn't see it. We spent all our time in pubs, but I didn't see anybody.
Russ.
What?
No, it took a lot to get my uncle from Ireland to look like he was intoxicated.
Oh, in other words, they're used to it. They've adapted. Okay.
Yeah,
well, that could be, because I sort of didn't see anybody falling down drunk in Ireland at all. Everybody was having a good time though. It was a very very up place to be, really, very up. And that was just normal.
He'd come home, he'd kiss the horse before he kissed his wife, my aunt.
Oh wow! No, well, I guess there's not a lot more I want to know about that story. All right.
The luck of the Irish.
I appreciate the call. That's interesting, and I hope.
Like
I hope it goes well for him. I mean, it's going to be tested in courts, and obviously, it's going to be tested. Before anybody jumps in, I think we should, see what the courts have to say and what hurdles have to be made.
I don't know. I think it should be mandatory in every state.
Man, you're an aggressive guy. You should run for office.
I did.
Okay.
High school.
Oh. Yeah, ruined your career right there as an elected official.
Yeah, I didn't promise free stuff at lunch and cake and ice cream.
That's what you have to do.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
My son was disappointed. Same reason. That's why he's not in office. He joined the military.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, man. We'll see.
They get their K rations.
I think he's doing better than that. He's in Sicily, although he just got reassigned. He's being restationed. He's been overseas for well over 10 years. He is now being transferred to Tucson.
Well, that'd be great. You heard just what happened down there, didn't you?
No. What? About the lady? Nancy. That's a horrible deal. I've talked a little bit about that, but there's something going on there that's just wrong. It's not a kidnapping, dude. It doesn't look.
Well, they already said that the worst kind of money would be crypto because it's so easy to track.
Yeah, they can figure it out.
Even so, people think it's not. It's one of the easier ways to track where it's at and who's getting it.
I've watched so much on that a lot of FBI retired detectives, private investigators, and it just doesn't fit the profile of a kidnapping. There's just something else happening here.
Let me let you go.
See,
I don't want to tie up the phone.
All right, buddy. Bye-bye. That was Ted this morning waking me up, which I needed. Not that I've been here. I've been here for a couple hours. I just haven't had my, all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, I got to go on the air. I forget sometimes. I get involved in the reading or whatever. But today Smith is going to, and that's Jason Smith, the House Ways and Means Committee chair, is going to be looking into this influence of nonprofits. And I think it's about time. Some of these nonprofits, I guess, are being used for political reasons. We knew that, in the parties have been doing grants for political reasons, and a lot of the money goes back to political people. But they're going to look at this money that's coming in from Beijing and beyond. They call it Beijing and beyond, that is trying to influence Americans' news and other things. He said the operation that allegedly exploits U.S. nonprofit laws to inject American propaganda, anti-American propaganda, into domestic protest movements and sow discord with the United States. Smith demanded records from Breakthrough, and that's one of the organizations, which you can get them online, Breakthrough BT Media, and Tricontinental, warning that both tax-exempt organizations may be operating outside their lawful purposes, possible unregistered foreign agents, while helping to fuel domestic unrest under the guise of journalism and academic research. Describe a full spectrum operation with funding aligned with foreign interests, flowing into tax-exempt nonprofits that produce ideological research, media narratives, social media messages, which are then deployed into U.S. streets through tightly choreographed protest. We've been seeing it every night. We've been seeing it way too often. We see it on the streets in Yuma at times where there's protests we know that are paid. When we've talked to people that have been paid. Um, it's it's a it's a huge industry of it. It looks like as many people are involved in these things. It's good they're looking into it. And if the money's coming overseas, they need to shut this stuff down. Over the past year, there's been documented a pattern of coordinated protests by socialist, communist, and Marxist group revealing a synchronized ecosystem of funding, media amplification, ideological framing, and street level mobilization that aligns with the strategic interests of hostile foreign governments, including the People's Republic of China. Tax exempt status is a privilege, not a right. Now, all this is according to Smith. This is Jason Smith who is writing these letters. He says nonprofits must remain accountable and refuse to act as instruments of hostile foreign governments. The Ways and Means committees continue to investigate how foreign monies and foreign linked networks are funneling this. That's why we're demanding answers from Tricontinental and Breakthrough about the funding systems, activities, and communications with CCP linked individuals, including Neville Roy Singham. If the evidence shows that these groups are acting as conduit for CCP aligned propaganda or functioning like foreign agents while enjoying tax benefits, their tax exempt status should be revoked immediately. We're going to follow the money, demand accountability, put a stop to Beijing's exportation of our tax exempt sector. Carla Rees, the chair and director of Breakthrough, wrote that Smith wrote about this letter. And this was the letter to Carla Reeves. I'm sorry, the director. Smith wrote it. He's disturbed by the connections between Breakthrough and the Chinese Communist Party linked organization, launched an inquiry into whether the outlet deserves its 501c3 tax exempt status. Investigation is not about suppressing speech, because that's the first thing that's going to come out. Well, you're suppressing speech. It's not. It's about whether nonprofit protections are abused. Under federal law, if more than an insubstantial part of the organization's activities is not in furtherance of a tax-exempt purpose, the organization is not operating exclusively for such purposes. Supreme Court precedent stating that the presence of a single exempt purpose, if substantial in nature, will destroy the exemption regardless of the number or importance of truly exempt purposes. Smith warned them that receiving funds from an individual who lives in Shanghai, maintains business ties with companies and individuals linked to the CCP, works with and physically alongside a foreign propaganda company, and attends CCP forums on how to promote the party abroad raises serious questions. I think it does more than that, but okay. About whether Breakthrough qualifies as an agent of a foreign principal under the Foreign Agents Registration Act. Since its inception, and I'm talking Breakthrough, since Breakthrough's inception, it has produced and distributed content that aligns with pro-CCP rhetoric across the United States and the globe. Following the October 7th, 2023 Hamas terror attack on Israel, Breakthrough News dramatically shifted their coverage in a way that suggested its intent on sowing division within the United States while portraying China as an overwhelming positive light. Breakthrough was one of the first social media accounts to publish the video of the killing of anti-ICE demonstrator Alex Preddy. And Breakthrough, within a broader network, includes Transcontinental, the People's Forum, the Party of Socialism and Liberation, and the Answer Coalition. And these are all working alongside groups such as the Democrat Socialist of America to mobilize protest, train responders, flood social media with coordinated narrative during flashpoint events, from immigration enforcement actions to the arrest of Venezuela strongman Nicolas Maduro. Breakthrough was one of the first social media accounts to publish video of the U.S. strike over Caracas when Maduro was arrested. Vijay Prashad, executive director at Tricontinental, Smith said he was described by the connection between yourself, Transcontinental, and organizations linked to the CCP. He described Transcontinental as an organization that has been responsible for spreading Marxist, anti-American rhetoric across both the United States and the globe, possibly sowing chaos, Chinese propaganda. Committee investigators tied Prashad directly to Chinese state-linked institutions. And he's the executive director of 501c3s. His role as senior fellow at a think tank connected to China Ministry of Education and his participation in conferences hosted by university funded by the Chinese Communist Party. He detailed Transcontinental's financial relationship with the Meiku Group, a Chinese media company whose stated mission is to tell China's story well. Transcontinental paid the firm more than $2.1 million for research analysts and translation services. Tricontinental's deep financial and structural ties to Shingham noted the organization received millions of dollars from entities linked to him, employed his son as a researcher, and lists Shingham as a chair of his international advisory board. Now, Shingham is an American, but he's been in China for quite some time and working with Chinese propaganda machines. Part of Shingham's network of nonprofit organizations that served his conduits to spread CCP narratives. That was what the two we've been talking about. That's just part of it. The Institute concluded that the Democratic Socialist of America, which I think our mayor of New York, Mandani, identifies as that, exhibits multiple indicators, warranty scrutiny as a foreign lobbyist. Democrat Socialists of America didn't return a request for comment. I don't think they're involved in this hearing as of yet. I think they should be. But Smith's taking it seriously, like it's a new cognitive war, which foreign adversaries seek to weaponize outrage, protests, and information to weaken the United States from within. I look forward to seeing where that's going and hoping it goes well. And I'm curious. I'm curious about the hearings a little bit. I'm going to watch some of it. I can't watch it all. I'm going to watch some of it just to see how the Democrats ask questions and do things. Quite often in these things, it's so partisan. You'll see the Republicans ask serious questions about some things, and the Democrats, start throwing flowers at them. And it's happened the other way. It's happened when the Democrats are bringing Republicans up to, brutalize them, and the Republicans will point out the record in a positive manner. But will they go out and protect the CCPs type stuff? Will the Democrats go out and do that just because the Republicans are going after them? Time will tell. We'll see. But since they get tied to it, it's a Democrat Socialist Party. I would think they're going to have a soft spot for it, and probably go in and throw a bunch of flowers and fluff and tell them how wonderful they are, doing a great job of putting the news out there. How dare these mean Republicans say something negative to you? Well, we'll see how it goes, but it starts today at 8 o'clock our time. We'll be right back. AM 560, KBLU.
Listen to KBLU from 8 to 9 every Monday morning to Life, Death, and the Law. Sean Garner and Adam Hansen discuss estate planning options. Learn how you can plan your estate using a will or trust to protect your family and secure your legacy. That's Life, Death, and the Law every Monday, 8 to 9 a.m. on 560 KBLU.
This is as real as it gets. Get up, get kids up, feed the dog, feed the kids, out the door, work, pick up kids, dinner, bath, bed, repeat. You strive all day to make life better for them. So why not make life better for you? Get strive-free checking at Avner Financial. No frills, no fuss, no monthly fee. Open a strive-free checking today at avnerfinancial.org. Certain restrictions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
Are you a fraud-paying American? 1 in 4 tax-paying Americans have been victim of identity fraud. With LifeLock, your identity, if it's stolen, they fix it guaranteed or your money back. And last year, billions in refunds were stolen. Could be from your salary, overtime, or second job. Gone. But this year, you don't need to stay a victim. Because this tax season, fraud-paying American is something no American should have to claim. Save up to 40% off your first year with the promo code BECK. Visit lifelock.com. Terms do apply.
This President's Day, Pure Talk is honoring Jackson and Lincoln by offering unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data for just $25 a month. Meanwhile, Big Wireless is honoring Ben Franklin by charging families hundreds of dollars for the same 5G coverage. What? Franklin wasn't even a president. Hang on to those Benjamins. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and save 50% off your first month. That's pound 250, Mike Rowe, to switch to an American wireless company that's truly unprecedented. Pure Talk.
AM 560 KBLU. Russ Clark with you. It's 6:30 on a beautiful Tuesday morning. The phone lines are open, 928-344-5258. CBS did some research. They got a hold of the documents for 393,000 arrests of illegals made between January 21st of 2025 and January 31st of this year. So about 2 months where they got all those arrests, and they wanted to do an article to test them to see if they're really arresting criminals, violent criminals. I'll give you some results. Let me take a phone call first. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Russ. How are we this morning?
Doing well, Carl. Happy Tuesday.
Yes, happy Tuesday. And one more day to hump day.
There we go.
Then we'll be in good shape.
Yep.
We have things we need to know is we need to know why our children were out of school protesting ICE. Can you explain to me what the job of ICE is supposed to be?
Well, they're going after illegals within the country, not at the border, but not the ones trying to get in, the ones that are already here. And they're going after right now, focusing on criminals, the ones that are creating crimes beyond the crime of entering.
Okay. So now my question is, who is telling these children or young people that they should be go out protesting our government because they're trying to get the illegals out of our country?
I have no idea. There's been suggestions that it comes from some teachers. There's been suggestions coming from a lot of social media. And now that I read this report on the social media nonsense from some of these companies that have foreign ties that are spooling this stuff up, they may have organized it nationwide. Who knows? I look forward to the Ways and Means Committee looking into this, and I would think that we'd also have, other intelligence officers looking into this. And I think it's been known for a while that these things are heavily organized and tied back to organizations that we don't support.
It really surprises me how somebody can go in there and program our children to start hating people that are trying to get the people that are messing with them out of the country. Yeah. Are our children that stupid?
Well, no, they're that naive.
No,
Carl.
I apologize. I'll take that word back and say naive.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think they're impressionable. They'll join these organizations and they hear these stories about innocent families being taken out of schools and in the middle of the night out of their homes, and they've done nothing wrong. They listen to this stuff and they have compassion. But the stuff's not true. If it's not true on a wide scale, it may have happened. I don't know. I doubt it. I don't think there's been any school incursions from ICE, even though they claim there has been. But ICE has come out and said we don't do that.
No, the only thing ICE I ever thought they did was trying to get the illegal people out of the country. That was their job. That's why we, the people, hired these people. So, hey, Let's get all the crooks out of our country so we all don't have to start wearing our guns to work.
Governor Abbott addressed this because what happened all over the country. That's why it was very coordinated and probably from some funding from overseas, according to this article I read in Ways and Means, that Governor Law has a law on his side regarding school walkouts. And the Texas governor says the Supreme Court supports his stance that the right to free speech is not absolute for students. And that students cannot simply walk out of school to attend protests without facing consequences. Supreme
Well,
Court
they
has been
should.
very clear about free speech of students, and that free speech of students does not include leaving the school. Now, I sent this article to David Laura. He received it, and got it, and he says he's going to look into it and see if its application to the Arizona.
Well, I think this is all coming from our Democratic Party.
Well, according to the article, it's definitely coming from some of it. I don't know if this one specifically, but the Democratic Socialist Party.
Okay,
It's
I'll
got
go for
ties,
that.
and that's being embraced by the Democrat Party. I don't know if it's an actual part of them or they just like it, just like
Well,
MAGA or something, or we got little groups within Republicans, but I don't know. But I get the
well-
impression, like you do, I think it shows all signs of them being part of it, and I don't think every Democrat understands that. I don't think every Democrat walks around and says, "Yeah, we're into this organized rebellion that's going to strike back at ICE officers stuff and get kids to walk out of school." I don't believe the average Democrat really understands that that's
I don't.
coming
I don't
from the
think
party.
so.
Yeah.
Because I seen it, Tony. Well, we got in the district I'm in, Grijalva's district. What is that lady doing? She's down there getting pepper sprayed, or she said she did. I don't know if she did or not.
No, she
But
didn't.
what she's doing down there, she is protesting our ICE agents, which are trying to get the people out of the country.
Yeah, which is just a shame when we've got elected officials, and we've got quite a few of them that are bad mouthing ICE, and it's causing more friction, and it's causing more attacks. Probably, it creates an atmosphere that the crazies are going to come out and say, "Yeah, I'm going to report Grijalva and Schumer and whatever, and I'm going to go attack an ICE officer and hit him with a car."
That is not supporting the Constitution, is it? Or is that illegal rights to do that?
It's not. It's breaking the laws, no matter what you say. It's and it's one that's going to get you.
She did.
It's going to get you hurt.
As far as I'm concerned, the lady broke the law.
Who?
She got pepper sprayed.
Grijalva? She didn't get
Yes.
pepper sprayed though, Carl. Man, don't.
I understand
Okay.
that, but she's the one that said she did,
Correct.
which makes her guilty. If you are in a policeman's face that much and he pepper sprays you,
But
you're kind of guilty.
She was near enough to smell it, maybe, but no, she was not. I mean,
Yeah, but that's not the point. What I'm trying to say is,
she
if
says
she's
it, says
down
I ought to put her in handcuffs. I don't think it works that way. I don't think it works.
they were breaking the law, and if they would put
I do
you
not
in
think
handcuffs,
I do not think Grijalva was breaking the law at all. I don't. She had every right to be there, man. Now she
As
can
an
exaggerate all she wants and say all kinds of garbage. It's protected, but it's killing people. I think it's hurting
right.
people. It's not illegal what she's doing as of now, and
as an elected official.
well, that's up to the voter, man. And the voter put her in.
Well, in a district that is 2-1, it's kind of hard to get them out.
Well, correct.
Correct. It's up to we the people.
But that's our
to change that.
But that's our system. Yes, we need to change it. But that's our system right now. And if we got a bunch of people that are malcontents, they're going to put a malcontent person in there and applaud this kind of activity. I imagine. That's why you had Nancy Pelosi and Maxine Waters for so long. The voters in those districts applaud that kind of nonsense.
Well, still breaking the law, in my opinion.
Well, you show me the law, buddy, but I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen a law broken yet.
That law I can't show, but that young gentleman that messed with my sign, he's gonna get to see what the law looks like.
Well, yeah, there's people that break the law, but I'm not. Just like the Democrats keep saying Trump broke the law, and I'm saying show it to me. The same with you. You say Grijalva broke the law, show it to me, but I don't see it, and I don't think I see it on Trump either. So I just got to call it like I see it, and it's not there.
Well, it's very close, so don't burn your finger. In other words, you're that close to sticking your hand on the fire.
We got to be careful about going after freedom of speech and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we can call it what it is. We think it's dangerous, and we think it's causing people to get hurt. There's no question about that. It is dangerous. It does cause people to get hurt.
That's right.
And it spurs on all this nonsense that's being spooled up probably by foreign agents, according to the Ways and Means Committee. And we got our Democrat Party aligning themselves with that. That's something that needs to be talked about. It needs to be exposed so that we do get the right votes and we get people out there say, wait a minute, this isn't what I signed on for. And I think most Democrats don't think they signed on for that. But if you start saying it's illegal, then you're going to lose the Democrats. They're going to say, Carl's talking a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
We can't do it. Just like the Democrats talk a bunch of crap about Trump. Well, he's breaking the law. He's illegal. He's unconstitutional. And they never show you what. They never give you the what law was broken. Well, we shouldn't do that to them either.
Well, I guess the law's not broken until you touch them. Is that when you break the law?
Well, yeah. If you put
On
if you put your hands on an ICE officer and to stop him from doing his job, yeah, that's a law that's broken right there. Yeah, you can be arrested for that, impeding an officer. Yep.
But my problem is that when when she put her hand on the Bible, she would say she was going to uphold the laws of the Constitution of the United States.
Yeah.
And when you're down there protesting our government for doing their job, that ain't upholding the Constitution.
Well, I don't agree with you. I think she has a right to give her opinion on that she doesn't believe it is. And keep in mind, lawyers every day go to court to fight over what it's meant in what these framers meant when they said anything, and that's fair to continue to discuss. We can do that.
That's what it's supposed to be discussed. You're not supposed to be down there protesting and getting pepper sprayed.
Protest.
That woman, her job was to be in the Congress in the House. To make sure our laws are protected.
Well, protest is legal.
She's not doing it.
Protest is legal and protected by the Constitution,
Yeah.
buddy. It's just
There
legal
you
and
go.
protected. There's no other way to say it. So what she did is
I
legal and
understand
protected.
that.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
But they
an
cross a
elected
line
official?
when they disrupt, when they block, when they push,
Yeah,
when they
she just
shove,
did.
they throw
She did.
rocks. But she didn't do any of that. She didn't do any of that.
And she got pepper sprayed, as she said she did.
So what?
So what?
Yeah.
My
that's not
problem is
it's not
she was
illegal to
elected
smell pepper
official,
spray.
and she's not upholding the laws of the Constitution.
Carl, I'm not going to agree with you. There's nothing you can say.
No, that's fine.
All right, buddy.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, have a good day, my
You
friend.
too, man. Bye bye. No, I love Carl. I'm not going to agree with him on that. And obviously he's got it set in his mind, but I think that's dangerous. I mean, to claim someone's broken the law and you can't state which law it is. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Now, she has every right to go out there and protest.
Correct.
She does.
Yep.
She does. That's the First Amendment.
Yep.
It has every right under the Constitution to disagree with what ICE is doing.
Correct.
That's under the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
She has every right under the Constitution to be an idiot.
Probably, or we'd all be arrested. Correct.
Right. She has a lot of rights, but what she doesn't have the right to is to touch an agent in any kind of way. If an agent if he feels threatened, he can assume self-protection.
Well, have you
push her down?
Well,
spray pepper spray on her.
But that didn't happen, to my knowledge.
No, I know.
Okay.
I know it didn't happen. She didn't get pepper sprayed, by the way.
No.
She was in the area where pepper spray was used.
She smelled it, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's fact. And you have every right to protest, but as soon as you do anything physical towards law enforcement or their vehicles, you're breaking the law.
Yeah, even blocking the roads. You can't impede their progress. You can't do it. It's just we haven't had the police there to arrest the people in Minneapolis, and that's why it's become big news.
Well, you know what? It's happening now. They're dropping these people left and right.
Yes. Tom Homan has stepped up the arrest.
Well, I just want to know what happened in that backroom conversation. That's what I want to know.
With who? Tom Homan and the governor, or what?
Yeah, Tom Homan and the governor and the mayor.
Yeah.
And the mayor.
Yeah.
So, you spit on an officer.
Oh gosh!
You broke the law.
Yeah, you're going to get handcuffed at that point. Except they've been so busy, Gilbert, and they don't have the personnel and they don't have the backup from the state or from the cities. That
a
lot of that has gone. And where the protesters can walk away because there's just not enough people to arrest them all. That's changing, thank goodness, to
Right.
where
Well,
that
yeah.
behavior is going to be contained. That's not protest at that point. I agree with you completely.
Yeah. You know, the bottom line is that backroom conversation, and the thing is, they were there for a reason. You know, ICE gets undocumented aliens or illegal aliens and take them out. That's the fraud that was going on in Minnesota was done by undocumented aliens or illegal aliens.
Well, we know many
That's
of them.
what it
Many of them have been involved, but there's also been some citizens involved, a few, and some legal Somalians.
Yeah, but you can't deport them. I'm talking about why ICE went in there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
But-
ICE went in there for that. Yeah, you're right.
That's
You're
why
right.
that's why they're there. And the question is, why were they protesting? What were they protesting? ICE went in there to do a job. But we all know George Soros and the rest of them, even the Democratic Socialist Party, are getting funds from foreign agencies also to help the protesters.
Yes.
And that's the
I
only reason
I think
they're protesting.
that's been pretty well documented, and that's why the Ways and Means Committee is getting all these questions today to a lot of these organizations, and it's good they're starting to go after them. I mean, it's unbelievable that they just let them function and continue to work at the detriment of all of us in this country. That's not free speech, buddy. We don't have a free speech constitutional agreement for foreign agencies to come in and say whatever they want against our government.
Exactly, and the reason that this got out of hand was, like you said, there was no police help from the city and the state. There wasn't, and protesters were all coming from all over America to that area. They're professional protesters. Yeah. We know that. You know that. And they're getting paid big bucks.
And they need to follow the money. And I think that's why we're having those things right now. They followed some money. They said, wow, it's coming from foreign actors.
Exactly. I got a question for you, Russ. I don't know if you've been paying attention. Smucker Park. My beautiful Smucker Park that I used to walk.
Yeah.
I used to walk that park. It's 1 mile. Yeah. 1 good mile, and it's all torn up. It's been torn up for what? How many years now?
3, maybe, something like that.
I understand that they are getting another contractor.
Well,
who's responsible for that construction?
It's a county.
Or the county?
Well, it's a county. It's a county funded project. But the city's involved in it. It's in the city property, but the money, because it's flood control. Flood control comes from county. But I'm pretty sure, and I think it's all city that's kind of controlling it, but it is county funds that comes from our tax dollars that go into flood control type stuff. And if you go out there, you'll see that they've started to do some improvements again. Put some grass back. They plant little bitty trees where big ones were cut down because they stopped watering them. And they've opened up the park for kids, some of the equipment for kids. But you're right, they haven't opened up the fences to let the park be open for that full mile, and all the equipment's gone. Everything's gone, and it's obviously not finished.
It looks like caca.
Oh my gosh, yes, you're right.
But so is county supervisor? Are they involved with this, or is it someone that works for the county that's in charge? And what I want to get at, who does the responsibility ultimately fall on when they
short answer is I'm not sure. I know both entities have a footprint there, but I know it got funded by the county. But I think the city was controlling the contractual, and it's been a joke. It's killed so many mature trees. Because they just cut off the water. They cut off the water and the trees died.
And what I want to know, what was the end goal?
There's retention. Retention for floodwaters was the end goal. And the plans changed many times. At one time, it was going to be a pond built. That was going to be the retention, was actually going to be a pond that could be used much like West Wetlands, maybe stock it with fish, have, fun time around it and all that. And then they changed it where there was not going to be any access to public for this retention area, and it's not going to be a pond. And And I don't know how many times it's changed, but whatever they're doing is Keystone Cops, man. I just don't.
Exactly. It's becoming a fiasco, just like Kennedy Pool.
Yeah,
That's becoming a fiasco.
Kennedy Pool's an eyesore, and it's a black mark on the city as far as I'm concerned. And where they've closed it for 4 years and they don't know what to do or how to open it. And I've talked to pool people that says we could get it open, we could do it, and they just don't want to. I don't think the city doesn't want to.
Yeah. See, that's there's a lot of people will be protesting about Kennedy Pool. I'm 75 years old, and I remember when Kennedy Pool was first opened.
Right.
Matter of fact, I dove off the high dive board, and I didn't make my complete flip, and I fell flat on my back, and I cut my back up pretty good.
It's funny how that's memorable. Yeah.
But now, to me, there's two big major fiascos right there: Kennedy Pool and the park.
Well, it's not just Kennedy. There's a couple pools.
Well, no, I'm just saying right now. That's what I'm seeing, and I like the mayor. Him and I are pretty good.
I think he's a great mayor, and I support his reelection. I support it hugely, and I think we should put Nichols back in there. But I think there's something going on with these things that we probably deserve better answers.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm getting at. I can't vote for the man, but I supported him for many, many, many years. He's done a lot. He's done a lot for the motorcycle community. I'll tell you that straight out.
Okay.
He has. But that's my favorite park. I mean, I could walk 5 miles easy on that park back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
And now I'm looking at it and just going, wow.
I still walk it quite a bit, but even though it's a shortened version, I still walk it. But it's a shame that we've got so much. It was such a beautiful park that it's less than that now. I mean, I don't know how many mature trees were taken out, but it must have been 30 trees or so that were taken out of there.
All the roses that were there. You know what? I used to see a lot of bird life in that park.
Yeah.
Different kinds of birds, red-tailed hawks. I've seen red-tailed hawks swoop down and grab something there in that park.
You could go there in the heat and be in the shade all the time. You could walk in the shade. You can't do that now.
No. But like you said, Yuma County, Yuma City, we deserve questions. Well, we got the questions. Now we just need the answers.
Yeah.
And we don't need word salad. Just tell us, how come these guys were fired?
I don't know. There were contractual disputes, I know, that shut it down quite a bit, and then they pulled out. So I'm sure there's lawsuits all over the place, and I'm guessing, I don't know of any, but I'm sure there are.
Well, anyway, that's my conversation for this morning, Russ.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you bringing that up. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. That was Mr. Gilbert. Yeah, that Smucker's Park has been a disappointment. I live real close now, so we do walk over there, but it's just not the park it was. And that new bathroom they built sucks. I mean, they put a lot of money into it, and it's just horrible. The old bathroom, as it was like a prison bathroom, was fine. It got old, and it probably needed to be redone, but man, this new one sucks. It's not good at all. I just think it's poor idea. The whole thing is just poor. I started talking about CBS. All right, I'm going to finish up on that a little bit. CBS did some research, got 400,000, just short of 400,000 arrest documentations, so they could go through them and prove, the U.S. government's lying to us. Well, and that's fair for a media company to do. That's fair. More of them should do that kind of research. What they came up with, and they reported it on Monday, and it came from a Camilo Montoya Galvez. She said that the DH documents shows less than 14% of nearly 400,000 immigrants arrested by Immigration and Custom Enforcement were charged or convicted of violent crimes, despite President Donald Trump's vow to go after the worst of the worst. Well, see, that's just so infuriating. Donald Trump did say he would go after the worst of the worst, and that's what he's doing. But they put it down to 14%, which mean they had to do a different type of math. Well, the DH Assistant Secretary, Tricia McLaughlin, addressed it on X. She said the numbers, reading of them, pointing out that the article downplayed several serious crimes by categorizing them as nonviolent. So CBS changed because they're the word owners. They own all the words and they own what nonviolent is and violent is, I guess. So they threw a lot of stuff into the nonviolent that DHS lists as violent. And here's a list of some of them that Tricia McLaughlin said that they ignored. They said, look, drug trafficking, distribution of child pornography, burglary, fraud, DUI, embezzlement, solicitation of a minor, human smuggling are all categorized as nonviolent crimes, according to CBS. We said 70% of those illegal aliens arrested under POTUS, Donald Trump, and Secretary Noem have pending criminal charges or prior convictions. Pending criminal charges. I guess they looked at who actually has gone through the court system before you can arrest them. So in other words, she's okay living next door to an illegal alien that's been charged with violent crimes as long as you haven't been convicted yet. Or if you have violent crimes convictions from foreign countries because they don't count. It's just ridiculous. That's not the intent. The intent is to get dangerous people out of here, people that ignore our laws, people that don't care about us. By CBS standards, Edward Hernandez, who was ICE government arrested last week in Virginia, is a non-criminal because he hasn't been convicted in the United States. Never mind that he's an MS-13 member and confessed to murdering 5 people in El Salvador through shooting, torturing, stabbing, and dismemberment, including one victim who was alive. Yeah. CBS would list that as a nonviolent. Here's a more accurate headline. CBS, nearly 70% of criminals detained by ICE have pending charges or prior convictions. So-called nonviolent offenders include individuals charged with drug trafficking, distribution of child pornography, burglary, fraud, DUI, embezzlement, solicitation of a minor, human smuggling, and more. Labeling these offenses as nonviolent does not mean they aren't threats to public safety. The list of examples of illegal immigrants arrested by ICE who qualify as nonviolent of the CBS report because they were charged and convicted of violent crimes outside the U.S. So they didn't count those either. Despite this headline, less than 14% of arrested illegal immigrants have violent criminal records. The article itself acknowledged that nearly 60% of ICE arrests over the past year had criminal charges or convictions, including DUI, kidnapping, and arson. The other 40%, according to the documents, were accused of civil immigration offenses, which is also a crime, by the way. The last time I read the number of actual, it was like 67, 68%. That's why she said nearly 70, because it was just shy of 70%. So what about the other 30%? Well, the other 30% is as promised. Tom Homan, Kristi Noem, and all of them said, look, if we go into sanctuary city particularly, and they pointed out sanctuary cities, where they will not hold criminal aliens at jails so they could be picked up, and that they have to go in and find them and arrest them, they will arrest everybody in the room that is an illegal alien. They said that, and they do that. They absolutely do that. And that was a promise made by the Trump administration, by everyone else. It shouldn't be a surprise that, yes, while they're going after the worst of the worst, and they arrest him, other people are going to be questioned in the vicinity of that arrest. And they said that was going to happen. So if you're an illegal alien, don't you hang around with people with violent crimes. In fact, you should get out now or get yourself legal somehow. Find a way, find a pathway to do that. And to do that means you have to have, not be involved in criminal activity, not be taking welfare illegally, not be involved in fraud. And I wonder how many of those that CBS says is nonviolent were involved in fraud in some of these daycare centers and some of the things. It's more than daycare centers. It's a ton of things. Daycare is most of the news, but they're not violent or something. Should they be able to stay? No, they should not be able to stay. In my opinion, your opinion may vary. They're breaking the laws in the United States and should go. And while ICE is focusing on the nonviolent, their list of people that they're going after, they're focusing on the violent, not the nonviolent. They're focusing on the violent. The list they're going after are the violent. They're not going to overlook the other problems standing around them that are helping the violent ones get away with it, that are giving aid, comfort, and housing and hiding people that are on the list of violent. Tom Holm has promised that. And the sanctuary cities are their own worst enemy. They have been unsuccessful at stopping the arrest. They probably slowed it down, which means they're going to stay in the area longer. They've created a lot more havoc because they fight the ICE officers. They encourage others to fight the ICE officers. Slows it down, and they're doing it to destroy the image of the Trump administration. I get it; it's political. I get it, and the cities are suffering. And the cities are suffering more than just the violence and all that. The businesses have been screaming. They're not getting people to come out. Some of the reports I read said, well, they're afraid to come out because they might be arrested even though they're citizens. Well, that's just ridiculous. I don't know who puts those words down to say those stupid things. Citizens are not getting arrested by ICE. They're not going to do it. They may be detained if you're in the room with a bunch of criminals. You may get asked a question. And if you're in a bank and it gets robbed, you're going to be asked questions. Same thing. I'll be back. It's already top of the hour. It's 7 o'clock, AM 560, KBLU.
Is News Talk 560 KBLU, Yuma.
A second suspected and reported ransom note deadline has passed. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, and there are no reports of any payments on day 10 of the search for Nancy Guthrie.
Law enforcement is working tirelessly around the clock trying to bring her home, trying to find her.
But Today Show host Savannah Guthrie also in a new social media video said they're reaching out an hour of desperation searching for their mother.
And we need your help.
Urging anyone anywhere to reach out if they have seen or heard anything strange.
The FBI has put up digital billboards in several major cities in Texas, California, Arizona, and New Mexico. But the agency has not identified any suspects or persons of interest in the disappearance of 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie. FBI officials also say they are unaware of any ongoing communications between the Guthrie family and any suspected kidnappers.
That's Fox's Tanya J. Powers. Yet another U.S. attack off the South American coast in a 5-month-long operation targeting drug trafficking.
The U.S. Military Southern Command announcing it blew up a vessel in the Eastern Pacific suspected of carrying drugs, killing 2 people and leaving 1 survivor, who it called the Coast Guard to search for. Southcom also releasing a clip of video showing the attack it said was carried out on a boat transiting along known narco-trafficking routes.
Fox's Lillian Wu. The controversial immigration enforcement operation in Minneapolis that included deadly shootings and confrontations with protesters will be under scrutiny at a House hearing next hour that'll put the acting ICE director on the hot seat as Democrats demand ICE reform, or else they'll block new funding for Homeland Security needed by Friday night. But Republican Congressman Lance Gooden tells Fox a lot of ICE operations are already funded.
So what they've done is put at risk the TSA funding. No one wants to go to the airport and have to wait hours to get on a plane. They put at risk the air traffic controllers.
We just got an update on the economy showing we did less shopping around Christmas than expected. Retail sales did not rise as predicted in December. Instead, they were unchanged from November. America's listening to Fox News.
Surprise! Your accountant just emailed to say your quarterly taxes are way higher than you were expecting.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting discounts with a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Also, your favorite employee is leaving. They're going to pursue their dream of being a veterinarian.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
The Tunnel to Towers Foundation honors America's heroes and their families, heroes like Scott Abrams. Now, for more than 3 decades, Scott served his community and country while he was on his NYPD motorcycle escorting a funeral procession. Scott was hit by a bus, leaving him partially paralyzed. Tunnel to Towers was able to honor Scott with a mortgage-free smart home. Please join us supporting the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. If you can donate $11 a month, go to their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.
From the News 11's Information Desk, I'm Jeline Aguilera. The Yuma County Sheriff's Office is searching for a hit-and-run driver who injured 2 people Monday morning. The crash happened near East County 18th and a half Street on South Avenue 3E. Authorities say 2 people were standing near the parked vehicles when a red Mazda truck hit both parked vehicles, hitting the victims as well. Both suffered serious injuries and were flown to a Phoenix area hospital. The driver of the Mazda ran away on foot, and deputies are still looking for that person. If you have any information, reach out to YCSO or 78 Crime to remain anonymous. Plus, a 65-year-old man has died after crashing his motorcycle into a median. Yuma police say the man was heading north on Araby Road Saturday afternoon when he hit the median for unknown reasons. He was taken to Onvita Health and later flown to a Phoenix hospital where he died. The Yuma Police Department is reminding motorcyclists to stay alert and to ride safely. Catch us on the TV side on News 11 every weekday at 5, 6, and 10 p.m. for your latest local news, weather, and sports.
This is as real as it gets. Get up, get kids up, feed the dog, feed the kids, out the door, work, pick up kids, dinner, bath, bed, repeat. You strive all day to make life better for them, so why not make life better for you? Get strive-free checking at Avner Financial. No frills, no fuss, no monthly fee. Open a strive-free checking today at avnerfinancial.org. Certain restrictions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
There's a man in DC.
AM 560 KBLU. Russ Clark with you, and I have a caller on the line. Good morning.
I don't disagree with you often, but I'm not saying that I agree with Carl. I think you two have good points, but show me in the Constitution where it mentions the word protest. I'm driving, so I can't read it out loud, but I believe the words are the right of peaceful assembly.
Correct. Absolutely. And
Which is interpreted as protest. I get it.
It's in the first 10 amendments, yes. Yeah.
Assembly.
Right.
It's been probably interpreted as protest.
Well, it says you can address the government, which is a direct protest. Address the government. Sure.
All right. I got to go, so I'll let you off with that. I just don't think protesting is, I don't know.
Okay.
Standing up, your freedom of speech, assembly, peacefully, I gotcha.
And a petition.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Petition for redress when wronged, correct?
Well, you can petition the government for what you don't like. You can choose, but it's basically it's protest. You can protest the government's action, but you can do it peacefully.
All right.
You can
semantics now at this point.
Well, sure, but I'm talking about generally accepted also. I mean, there isn't a politician out there that says protest is illegal. None of them. You can't find one, and it's protected by the First Amendment. And I think it's been recognized that assembly and petition is protest.
I'm sure it has been interpreted that way. Mm-hmm. I'm just not sure. I'm maybe a little bit more strict in my interpretation, but I can't stay, Russ. We'll have to pick this up another time.
Take care, man. Bye-bye.
All right.
Yeah, and of course you look back at when it was written and what that verbiage encompassed, not what it means today. And I certainly haven't done that research on that, but it's been so well accepted by everyone that I'm assuming it means just that. See, U.S. military launched another deadly strike on a drug trafficking vessel. It doesn't get the big news that it used to. It used to be a little bit of outrage. Used to be some news out there. Remember the one that got dead twice because the boat wasn't disabled. They were going back in to call for backup and stuff, and they took it out again. That got a lot of negatives. Like, how dare they? Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Good morning, Russ.
Well, good morning, sir.
I think I agree with the last caller.
Okay.
Again, refer to Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals. And one of the things, in order to prevent this from going into the second paragraph of the preamble, we have to take control of the narrative. Now, there is a difference between a protest and peaceful assembly. I think peaceful assembly I think if they would have used, if Jefferson wanted to use protest, he would have. They took very, very delicate time in the wording for that document. So if you, by your standard and the guy before, I don't know, was it Carl? I mean, protest segues into riots a lot easier than peaceful assembly segues into riot. Don't you think?
No. I mean, I think it's all semantics. I mean, if you get a bunch of people standing on the street.
Of course it's semantics. That's the Democrats' ploy.
Well,
they change wording.
But look, let me ask you a question. If I get 50 people on the corner of 4th Avenue and 24th Street holding up signs and screaming nice things to cars like, hey, support this or do this or whatever, is that a protest or is that a peaceful assembly or is that, what is that? What do you consider that to be? You think that's beyond the constitutional protections? Because I've done it many times. I guess I'd be a criminal.
Wait a second. I don't know what Yuma in the state of Arizona. I mean, we should go to the law book, to answer this question. And I would say, so long as they follow the guidelines of a peaceful assembly,
yes,
they're okay.
But what you're going to read, what you're going to read in the newspaper, they're going to say protest on 4th and 24th Street. Which
you see, we have to take back the narrative. We can't let them get away with. If they,
I would call it
any
that.
Media on our side.
No, mostly no.
When is the media going to stop lying?
Never.
You take 100 people and you say, does the media lie? 100 people will say yes. And that is one aspect of the workings of a society that's gone totally wrong. They abuse the First Amendment. All I'm saying is, and I think the last caller agrees, I think that peaceful assembly does not segue into riot.
Well,
protest segues into riot.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think that we're calling. I mean, some people are calling protests. The left is mostly peaceful protest, and all that is a bunch of crap. But the second you pick up a brick, the second you hit a cop, the second you do
absolutely
that is not a protest anymore. That is a riot of breaking law.
100% agree with you, but it's the semantics that the Democrats keep control over. If our people that have our megaphone say peaceful protest instead of riot, peaceful assembly instead of protest, we are taking control over their narrative because it's easier. I'm just saying it's easier for them to go into a riot. Those people step off the curb. That is no longer a peaceful assembly. That's a protest.
You and I are in complete agreement. We're in complete agreement on
that. Now we need to go into what Black's legal dictionary. We don't carry that in our pocket like everybody. But we have to remember it's the narrative. We can defeat the Democrat Party by taking back the narrative, and that is one thing that Rush Limbaugh always promoted. And that's one thing that the guys who have taken his spot seem to forget.
Okay.
I mean, there's a difference between all three of those words. Is there anybody out there that has that legal definition? Is there any teacher out there
that has a legal definition of what? Protest?
What I don't know what the paragraph says in the book.
You mean the First Amendment?
No. I mean, I used to do parole, and there was one of my acquaintances. He was a police officer, and he had this 3-inch book on his desk. And when we would write warrants and we would write subject matter in the computer narrative, we would go to that book and put specifically that wording. Maybe I'm wrong.
Okay.
I've only been wrong on your show half a time.
Well, then you're
still
doing pretty
looking-
good, man. You're doing pretty
I'm
good.
telling you, I'm still looking up those two things. I know what I heard back then.
Okay.
So when I find out, I'm going to definitely be calling you. But, you know, do you agree we need to take back the narrative?
Of course. But I think that the word protest has been destroyed. Not, I think protest used to mean lawful assembly. Now it's, according to the left, it means something else. I don't accept it. I don't accept it. It's not a protest. When you start throwing bricks, it's done.
I'm certainly not. Is that what you think I'm arguing? No.
If you're not, then I don't know exactly what you're arguing. You're saying we shouldn't use protest at all, and then to me that would mean we gave up that narrative to the left. We're trying to redefine protest because I think protest has always meant peaceful to me.
Don't we have to in this city, in this state? We talked about this a while back too. Don't we have to apply to do that assembly?
No.
When I made an argument, and I don't know, you had another guy on, and I said, you know, that's one thing that maybe we should do. You have to be You have to be certified. Each and every member who wants to stand in that group has to be certified. So when, you know, let's say, do you have a registration to buy this car?
That's too much big government for me, man. I mean, I think if we want to stand on a street corner and say that we support puppies, we should be able to do that.
In a unique, in an ideal situation, but these Democrats aren't ideal.
Well,
they're looking for any way to bend and stretch. It's the same thing like the filibuster.
Don't let that change us. Don't let that change us. We don't let the say, well, because it's a special deal because of the way the Democrats are. We get in trouble. You get in trouble when you start making decisions based on that. You can't. You got to stick with your values, and the value is we can address the government. We can protest. We can stand on a street corner and say, I don't agree with the king.
I think that Thomas Jefferson, those great people, I think they picked they picked the words for that document very carefully, and I think they chose peaceful assembly when all of them themselves were huge protesters, and they dulled it down to peaceful assembly. There's no you can't argue when you say peaceful assembly, but if you say protest, then you can. Then I think it segues more into the more violent, into the more aggressive. But when you say peaceful protest, it's harder to leap from there to riot. And that's another thing. We aren't calling them riots. We're calling them peaceful protests. Everything in Minnesota from George Floyd, they were calling them. I mean, the Democrat Party media was actually calling them peaceful protests when you saw fires and cars tipped over.
Well, and that's what we need to address. We need to address that's unacceptable. But I think protest is acceptable. But yeah, it probably wasn't. In fact, I don't think it was a word used back then, but it has become standard word for disagreeing and doing so.
Well, my bottom line then to finish this conversation is I think that the wording is important. I think that peaceful assembly does not segue into riot as easily as protest.
But if
segues into riot.
They can call it whatever you want, they're going to throw a brick. But you get the whole country to say, well, you're not allowed to say protest anymore. Well, they should, and and it's on the books now to do so. But they get overwhelmed, and these peaceful protesters that throw bricks, which is not a peaceful protest, they know that there's not enough officers to arrest everyone, so they can throw and run and get some other people in trouble. That's been the status quo.
I will say another thing that jumped to the side a little bit. I'm glad to see that they're reopening the dialogue of the George Floyd court case. Did you know that?
I did not.
A woman. Well, first of all, the police chief in in Minneapolis at that time filed a defamation lawsuit against a reporter, and as the reporter is reporting the truth, they are saying that's defamation of character to report the truth. Anyway, it's out there. It's in a court order, and it's also there's a book written on it. And I'm glad about that because that court case definitely needs to be appealed.
I don't disagree with you, but it's so weird that whole incident is like trying to change the Bible to the left. I mean, he's saint, he's a saint now, and you can't say anything about it, even though he had enough drugs in his system to kill him. He didn't, it was just, it's just, George Floyd is just a weird deal to me, but it should be addressed. It should be looked at.
But the thing of it is, if it does get the light of day, and this time he does get released, that is going to be the media, the mainstream media, liberal mainstream media, Democrats are certainly going to exploit that.
Oh, of course. I mean, you're not allowed to discuss Floyd unless it's in such a way that he was discriminated against and a true saint, a martyr. That's the only way you're allowed to discuss him. And to the left. He was a criminal, man. And I don't want anyone to get killed. I don't want anyone to die. But man, if anyone was looking for a good way to do it, just take a bunch of drugs that's going to kill you and then attack a cop.
Did you take the time to watch that as it was on TV, minute by minute?
Oh yeah.
I mean, he won that case.
Yeah. Well, and I just look at those things and I'm just puzzled by how can that happen, and how can we look at that and think that this guy's a hero and somebody that we should put monuments up for and honor and all that stuff. I mean, he was a thug.
Well, I think you could answer that question. How did that happen?
Yeah.
As to the Super Bowl halftime show. How did that happen? Well, just wait. How does that happen?
Roger Goodell. I hold him accountable.
Oh boy, they're calling out his name today. I hope they get rid of that guy.
It's about time, man. He's been on thin ice since Kaepernick, and he continues to use the platform in the NFL for social change, and it's got to change. We got to start playing football again.
And I'm not challenging you to say, "Oh, I know this," you don't, but it has to come out.
Yeah.
What was the stimulus for Kaepernick?
Yeah. What was
that? Was Mike Brown, hands up, don't shoot. That's the reason why Kaepernick did that. And again, it's the media narrative.
Yeah.
Hands up, don't shoot. Wasn't if you just say that and cause somebody to, well, imagine what that is. They'll say that a man was facing the police officer with his hands up and the cop shot him.
That's not true, though.
But that is not true. And then also, when they shot him, his hands are up and the cop shot him in the back. But the media never came back and corrected that.
No, they haven't. And people in Congress were going up, holding their hands up and demonstrating and all that. I mean, and they knew the truth. And that's what's so sad. They know the truth.
And the damage to society was caused by that lie. All I'm saying is, going back to the three words, peaceful protest, peaceful assembly, protest, and riot. In this day and age, you cannot. Unfortunately, we cannot correct the First Amendment. That is so important.
I don't think we need to. I don't think we.
They abuse it so much. One side is abusing that First Amendment.
Well, that's up to us to enforce. Doesn't mean it was written wrong. It means it hasn't been enforced properly.
We don't enforce. We're not enforcing it by letting them get away with mangling the words.
Well, I don't think they're mangling the First Amendment necessarily, because our current use of protest, the word protest, in place of all that, is just a current word for it, and it was different. I mean, in George Washington's time, they didn't say protest. Okay, they sent bear witness, declare formally to testify against something or whatever, or a symbol, a march, or a rally. They didn't say those, a symbol and a march or rally, but they still meant the same thing. They still did it. And but you can cross the line. They called that the Whiskey Rebellion back in George Washington's time.
And they called, there's another word, a rebellion.
Yep. Or
that's a whole different story.
Yeah, or insurrection.
And that is exactly what is happening in Minnesota under the leadership of that communist.
Yes.
And you compare Minnesota with January 6th.
Well, but that's the whole bit you say about the left misusing the words. They're taking a rebellion and calling it a protest, and that's what we need to fight against. It's not a protest. A protest is just disagreeing. What they're doing is a rebellion, an insurrection, a riot. Call it what you want.
You and I are in agreement somehow in this conversation, but we're not making a connection there. Again, we cannot. My last thing I'll say is we have to stop letting the Democratic Party, by its use of the mainstream media, dictate to us words.
I think that's happening more and more. But you're right; it's not done, and it ain't going to finish anytime soon. They're going to keep trying. We just can't let it happen. I appreciate the call.
Hey, young man, you have a good day.
You too, man. Bye bye. And I did look this up on AI. So this is AI. I don't know where they get all this, but the original, it said in the historical records, the word protest in a modern sense of a public demonstration or rally was not commonly used by George Washington. During Washington's time, protest generally meant to bear witness, declare formally, or to testify against something, rather than to assemble in or march rally, although that's what they did. And then they mentioned the Whiskey Rebellion and the Shea Rebellion, that referred to as insurrections, rebellions, or tumulents. Tumulents. I don't know what that is. First Amendment doesn't use the word protest at all. It's the right to assemble and petition the government for a redress of grievances. And so they would protest and they'd call it a symbol and petition. That's just different verbiage. Means the same thing. And I think I got a email addressing that. Jefferson was in France during the Constitution Convention, and Madison prepared the submission of the proposed 19 amendments, of which 12 were chosen, submitted, only 10 were adopted. True. Bill of Rights. I didn't know it was 19. I knew there was 12 that they looked at. I didn't know there was 19 proposed, or I don't remember that. That's probably true, though. I mean, that was an amazing negotiation. If you ever get to see there was a movie on it that I think did a good job too, but there's a lot written about it. I started talking about the U.S. military strike on drug trafficking vessels in Pacific before I got sidetracked back on protest. But on February 9th, at the direction of Southcom Commander Francis Donovan, and that's Command General. It's nice that they're putting that the Command General, because all this has been saying, well, Pete Hegseth called for that extra. It's not true. It's a general that gets out there and does the work. The Joint Task Force, Southern Spear, conducted a lethal kinetic strike on a vessel operated by a designated terrorist organization, and they took it out. They blew it up. That's a kinetic strike. The intelligence confirmed the vessel was transiting along known narco-trafficking routes in the Eastern Pacific and was engaged in narco-trafficking. Something in this article they didn't put in, and this probably came from a release from the military. They write the article around some of these public releases. They didn't put how many to date and how many people. They did put that 2 died on this one and there was 1 survivor. So I looked it up to see how many of these actions have taken place. And as of the 23rd of last month, there was 37. We can add to that. We know at least this one's added to it. But there was 37 at that point, with 24 in the Eastern Pacific, 11 in the Caribbean, and at least 117 killed. So that thing goes on. It just amazes me. They still find captains and pilots to take charge of these boats. I guess it pays well. I'm not interested in it. I'll be back. We're going to take a quick break. It's 7:28 AM 560.
Contest rules for all giveaways and contests on 560 KBLU can be found on the website, kbluam.com.
This President's Day, Pure Talk is honoring Jackson and Lincoln by offering unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data for just $25 a month. Meanwhile, Big Wireless is honoring Ben Franklin by charging families hundreds of dollars for the same 5G coverage. What? Franklin wasn't even a president. Hang on to those Benjamins. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and save 50% off your first month. That's pound 250, Mike Rowe, to switch to an American wireless company that's truly unprecedented. Pure Talk.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
I spent years living in fear of calcium oxalate crystal stones, always afraid of when the next one would hit. Now, I just take Kidney Cop.
Battling calcium oxalate stones? It's time to try Kidney Cop, a doctor-recommended kidney supplement that has been shown in laboratory tests to reduce the growth rate of calcium oxalate crystals by 99%. Get Kidney Cop today at Amazon.com, Walmart.com, or KidneyCop.com.
Like the cowards do on the TV.
AM 560 KBLU. Russ Clark with you. Phone lines are open, 928-344-5258. I'm going to mention artificial intelligence after the phone call. You're on the air.
Russ, it's Ted.
Hey, Ted.
You were just explaining the intervention of that boat in the Pacific, Eastern Pacific.
Yeah.
When I lived in Virginia and I had my boats on the Potomac, remember when they blew up the Twin Towers?
Yeah.
When I was on the Potomac in my boat, and every time the Coast Guard or any other government vessel asked me to pull aside and be searched.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what would have happened to me if I turned my boat away from them and ran?
Oh, I shudder to think, Ted, but you wouldn't be talking to me now, probably.
Right. That 50 cal probably would have cut me in half.
They were pretty jumpy at that point.
Very, especially the closer I got to the Woodrow Wilson Bridge.
Wow. But just like in a car on the roads, if you get hailed by Coast Guard or any government official or sheriff's office, you don't have an option. You got to pull over and have inspections. See if you have a life vest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Make sure you're not drinking. Yes, it's illegal to drink and drive even in a boat.
It's even worse.
Mm-hmm.
It's even worse.
Well, and
the penalties for that is even worse.
But people think that it doesn't matter. I mean, I think most people know it does, but I've known so many are so casual about it. Like, we're just in the boat. It's soft. We can fall in the water. No big deal. People get killed out there, man. You got to be careful.
In the 20-some years I boated on the Potomac,
yeah,
I can't tell you how many people were killed out there due to drugs and alcohol use behind the wheel of a boat.
Yeah, you start pulling a skier with a boat and you're drunk and you're going to hit one or something. It's
run
just
over them.
Yeah, it's just terrible. Yeah.
Can I do one more thing?
Do it.
Since this word came up here in the last half hour, protest.
Oh no. Okay.
Can I just read the legal definition of it?
Go right ahead.
A formal objection filed against an act or a condition or against a party liable for loss or damages. That's Webster's. That's in the Webster Dictionary for the legal definition of the word protest.
Doesn't it say stand on the side of the road with a sign that says I love puppies?
Well, I'll tell you this.
What?
Up at 4th, since you mentioned 4th and 24th about, protests and all.
Yeah.
If they were blocking my view to make that turn, and I hit somebody, a kid running out or a car, I would try and sue everybody involved in it, whether they were Republican, Democrat, American, foreign. I don't care. I'm going to sue them all.
I've been involved in a lot of that. I don't know anybody that's ever stepped over, but we call it a rally quite often. It's a rally. have a
And
rally.
you can check the police records in Yuma here because of my complaints about the signs blocking my view to make that turn.
Oh,
That may not make certain people happy, but that's the fact. And
I don't know how a sign
twice.
can block your view, because if you
all
pull,
those views, all the view in that corner turning to the right on 4th, on 24th, block your view. See the sidewalk if a pedestrian is coming into the intersection.
I don't know. That sign would have to be pretty close to the road right there.
Well,
but
I filmed it, took pictures of it and sent it to the police department. in
Okay.
Yuma.
Okay.
Because when you pull up to the corner and you're at that white line, okay, the white line that you're supposed to be at, and you look to the right, you cannot see anything coming down the sidewalks when they have 42 signs plastered up there. And I have no problem with signs and stuff. Just don't block the view of the sidewalk and the road.
I've never seen it blocked, but okay. I mean, I don't know when you were there, but we've walked that sidewalk with signs many times. We can do that.
Yeah, I just want to make mention of it because, like I said, I reported it and they went up there, and I think some of the signs got moved because they were blocking the view of the sidewalk.
That's fair.
And the street.
But there's campaign signs there all along, all the time, that are in the grass, not on the concrete, but in the grass, or off the concrete, off the sidewalk. They never get taken down. They're all perfectly legal. They're not blocking any views, or they would take them down.
Well, they did. They had them moved.
Nah, they're always
Yes.
there. I mean, I've never seen those
Check
taken.
the police department under my name, and you'll see where I called it in.
Oh, I'm not doubting that you did, but it would have to be something that was past the sidewalk to be a problem, I would think. Well, all right. I'll take a look.
Okay.
I'll check the police records. I want to see all your pictures in orange. Okay.
You know it's there.
Take care. Take care, man.
All right, bye.
Bye. The artificial intelligence, as I was going to talk about artificial intelligence a little bit, and there's been reports out there, and it's kind of surprising to me at first about the energy that it takes to do artificial intelligence. I didn't realize that it was energy hungry. As of December of 25, American consumers paid 42% more to power their homes than 10 years ago. And they're blaming that rise of electrical cost on some of the data centers because they're using so much electricity. Calvin Butler, he's Exelon CEO, power company. When you have increased demand and inadequate supply, costs are going to go up. And that's what we're experiencing right now. In 24, U.S. data centers use more than 4% of the total electricity consumption, according to the International Energy Agency. That equates to as much electricity as the entire nation of Pakistan annually. U.S. data centers consumption is expected to grow by 133% by the end of the decade, using as much power as the entire country of France. So we're going to use the entire power. And France has a lot of they're one that are nuclear power generation. I think they probably have the highest percentage of nuclear power generation. Maybe we should borrow all their capacity. But that's kind of a wow factor that just our data centers are going to increase it that much so we can use ChatGPT. We're headquartered in Chicago, and we're the owner of ComEd, the fourth largest utility in the nation. ComEd's peak load is roughly 23 gigawatts. And that's the fourth largest utility in the nation. So they're 23 gigawatts for peak. And peak's where they always rate it because they got to build for peak even if you only hit it occasionally. We have a data center load come into the system, but by 2030, we'll be at 19 gigawatts. And I'm assuming that they're talking the data load's going to be at 19 gigawatts, not they're going to reduce gigawatts unless something was misread. I really didn't understand the way that was written. We'll be at 19 gigawatts, and that's the owner of ComEd, fourth largest utility company in the nation. Commonwealth Edison has experienced a dramatic increase in data center connection. The potential projects total more than 30 gigawatts and are expected to come online between now and 2045. So they know it's coming. They know they need another 30 gigawatts to power these data centers, and they got like 18 years to get it done. Our growth is unprecedented, and this is Calvin Butler, Exelon, in the last several decades. So with the data center advent and the technology coming, we've been forced to serve that load, which is our responsibility. But what we also have to do is build new generation supply. Well, I'm glad about that. Someone's got to build something new and big, if that's what we're going to do, which is not keeping up with the load that is coming in. And that's the crunch that we're in right now. And I guess that crunch is causing electricity prices to go up. Supply and demand. More demand, and they have pinched supply. They raise the price so you use less, I guess. But what we also have to do is build new generation supply, which is not keeping up with the load. Commonwealth Edison is asking regulators for a $15.3 billion 4-year grid update to meet the growing demand. And I've talked about grid in here before, that I know they're always working on it to add and to move, probably not fast enough. And there's also a problem with the grid that if we have an EMP charge, something that could even come from the sun, it could shut a lot of the grid down, which would mean catastrophe for big U.S. cities particularly. The U.S. overall has increased its grid capacity by more than 15% over the last decade. Okay, now, if we've increased the grid 15%, I don't think it's going to keep up from what they're talking about with these data centers coming online. It's going to come on faster than that. But many utility companies and energy producers say it's not enough. We're at a stage right now where we're constrained by electricity. Well, they've got to stop approving these data centers until we have enough electricity. I know they're redoing 3 Mile Island. They're opening it up again. They're bringing it back online just for data centers. Bob Mumgard, he's the CEO of Commonwealth Fusion Systems. Now, fusion's a nuclear type fuel that doesn't have the waste, and you can build it in smaller plants. And we talk about these occasionally where you can, but we don't have one in the United States, to my knowledge. Says you want to make power plants that can make a lot of power in a small package that you can put anywhere, that you can run at any time, and fusion fits that bill. Commonwealth Fusion System is working to add a new form of nuclear energy to the grid. Fusion, it has the same reliable benefits as standard nuclear energy already in use, but does not produce long-lived radioactive waste and carries fewer risk. In fusion, there's no chain reaction. The result is helium, which is safe and inert, and you don't use it to make anything related to weapons. Commonwealth Fusion says artificial intelligence is helping bring fusion energy closer to being a resource. See, now, so what this paper is saying is that the artificial intelligence is sucking up all the electricity, or 4% total of the electricity, and growing. But they're taking advantage of it, and they're putting artificial intelligence to use to find out how to make this fusion work. Because they've been working on it for as long as I can remember, fusion. And it's been a pipe dream, and they've spent billions of dollars. And we're not quite there yet to start putting fusion reactors out. But Mumgard says building and designing these complex machines and manipulating this complex data matter of plasma are all things that we're still learning and we're still figuring out how to do. And that's the area where we've been able to accelerate using AI. So how many more decades, Mumgard? How many more decades? They're also using AI for geothermal, which sounded weird. Geothermal is where they poke a hole in the ground and they get down to where the ground is hot, like 400 degrees, and pump water in and out and use that. Apparently it's expensive, though, in some places. Geothermal is a small part of the electric grid because of high drilling costs, low confidence in where to place the infrastructure. Yeah, it's high drilling costs because they got to go very deep. Sometimes the wells are 5,000, 8,000 foot deep, and you got to hit 400-degree temperatures. Well, Apparently, they drill a lot of holes that never reach that. Zanstar co-founder, now that's somebody that does the drilling, does these geothermal stuff. Joel Edwards. If you could do that every single time, over and over and over again, meaning drill one hole and get 400 degrees, geothermal power is the cheapest sort of power, period. Now, that's an amazing statement. That means geothermal would be cheaper than nuclear or fusion or any of the others, which would be interesting. But Joel says that with the help of AI, he says working to make the geothermal search more exact, they're now using AI-fueled mapping to find untapped resources previously thought non-existent. If we could get more precise in where we go to find these things, then how we drill into the things, geothermal absolutely has the cost curve to come down. And that's sort of what we're running towards, with AI sort of giving us the boost, giving us an edge to do that. Both geothermal and nuclear fusion can produce energy in any weather at any time, a component that could help ease the grid strain in the recent winter storm. I think right now we're at 20% of the grid is based on solar, wind, and probably dams too. I think it's the renewables, which is a lot. I'm surprised you got that. And I'll double check that in a little bit, but they have grown a lot. But this would be a lot more stable because the wind, you need wind, and I just don't think those things are that efficient. And I haven't read any recent studies on what it really costs, but they've been subsidized so heavily by the government and all that it's hard to get the cost. Once they take the subsidies away and they keep building them, that would tell you that it's worthwhile. But right now, I'm not sure. It's critical, and we've been raising the alarm for years. And I use the analogy that you're driving a car and your check engine lights on, but you keep driving it, hoping that you'll keep getting there and keep going. But when it breaks down, you're going to have a significantly higher cost. And I think that's a great analogy. We know that the grid's in not good shape as far as protections from EMPs or solar flares, and that it could be shut down by a foreign power that had an air blast of a nuclear weapon that could send out an EMP charge to shut us down. And it was supposed to be hardened under Trump's first term. He put the money aside, and Biden took it to put up some plugins for electric vehicles that they never built. So the money's gone. But we should be paying attention to it. We should harden that thing and build a bigger one, and then look at power generation, which we haven't done. I know they opened up some new nuclear plant in Georgia in the last couple of years. That was the first one in many decades. We have to pay attention to what's going on in this winter storm. Winter storm, Fern, it's an indication of what is coming. So it looks like AI is the problem, but they're saying also the possible solution to our energy needs. But something has to happen pretty quick. From the sound of it, on what they're up against, on the data centers that need the power, how much power they need and how much is available. Otherwise, it's going to become a rare commodity and expensive. We'll be right back.
Forecast for today, 81 for the high, partly cloudy skies, becoming cloudy Tuesday afternoon. Winds out of the southeast at 10 to 20, overcast and 58 for tonight. Wednesday, cloudy and 76, cloudy and 54 for tomorrow night.
What's up, Yuma, and hello, Russ Clark Show listeners. Johnny Porter here, and I just made the switch to Allo Fiber, and it's a game changer. Lightning fast speeds for streaming, working from home, and gaming. No buffering or slowed down speeds. It's time to ditch the glitch and switch to Allo Fiber.
To be a part of Russ's show, call 928-344-5258. That's 928-344-5258.
We're the comfort experts, people you can trust. Ask our customers. That's why they count on us. Over 50 years of service, keep us going strong. We've got a name you can depend upon. Hansburger Refrigeration and Electric. Hansburger, count on us.
AM 560 KBLU, Russ Clark back with you, and I have a caller on the line. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing well, Clyde. Good morning.
Great. Hey, there's a letter I heard you talking with Carl that you're going to give to David Lara about kids are not allowed to, high school kids are not allowed to protest or something like that.
Oh, in Texas, you mean the laws?
Oh, I didn't get the in Texas part.
Yeah,
I didn't hear you
I
say in
sent it.
Texas.
I sent it to David yesterday, actually.
In Arizona, where this took place, high school kids do have a right to protest. They can do it on campus during before school, lunch, or after school. They can also, I mean, of course, they shouldn't be walking out of school because that would be a disruption to the education process. However, the school district has the right to do a disciplinary action, whether it's through a truancy officer or, when they come back. Yuma High School's policy is once you leave the campus unexcused, you cannot come back to school unless your parent calls you in to come back in this class.
Right. And I understand many of them did go back into school after the protest, which was breaking their own rules.
Breaking their own rules. So the disciplinary could be because, if you're going to have consequences, I guess you should probably write down what the consequences would be.
Okay.
However, in this case, it would be an unexcused absence, or maybe mom and dad called in and made it an excused absence, whatever. But you cannot punish them any harsher for walking out for a political or for a protest of that than you could for them walking out to go to, a Bon Jovi concert or something like that. So the consequences are no higher, no more so because you did it politically. So I think that pretty much after a week and a half, I think that would lay that to rest.
I don't think it should be harsher than any other. I'm just saying enforce the rules.
No, and I'm not saying you said that. I'm just I didn't hear you talking about Texas because we're Arizona, so I just wanted to see what they look like. So I didn't hear the word Texas. So
Texas.
My bad.
And that's fine. But Texas talks about the law is on their side, and he's talking with the Supreme Court. That the Supreme Court talks about free speech and that it's not an absolute for students. That students can't simply walk out of school to attend protests without facing consequences. But that's the same thing you read. It's consequences. But what are the consequences? And if it's unexcused absence or anything like that, then then so be it. That's what it is. You don't elevate it,
Right. Right, and that's where it sets at. So I just I guess you guys have been going back and forth. What's the difference between a protest and an assembly or
You're
a
not going to
peaceful
do
assembly?
that, are you?
No, I'm just going to give it real simple. An assembly, coming together would be kind of what the Tea Party does, the Republican Party does on 4th Avenue in different areas. They stand there and you're celebrating something. You're celebrating Trump's victory. You're celebrating, whatever. It's a celebration. It's an assembly of a celebration.
Okay.
A protest, obviously, is when you come together. So you want to either protest or either stop what you're doing or change what you're doing. That's all.
Okay.
So that's layman terms. You don't have to have 5 lawyers to explain it to you. Of course, sometimes a protest can turn into a riot.
Well, yeah. Sometimes it has
And sometimes people go to a riot ready to gear it up, ready to go in a riot. It just, I think it's emotionally driven is where it tends to when a protest, which should be a peaceful protest, starts off and your emotions get a hold of you. Next thing you know, you start doing stupid things like messing with Carl's sign.
I think it's pretty obvious that some of them go to what they call a protest with battle gear on, ready to throw rocks. They stage them and they do all that stuff. And it's never was a protest. It's civil disobedience or beyond that. It's damage.
And that's totally wrong. I don't care. Even if what you believe in is right, we're not even. We can talk. We can put any subject in there besides ICE and say that, but nothing gives you the right to go. Nothing gives you the right in this country to go and throw rocks at law enforcement or anything like that. That never has been. And
somebody tell the left that.
God forbid that never happens again. Hopefully,
many on the left have considered that necessary for protest to get attention, just like running into a church and disrupting church services. And Don Lemon's finding out that that's not acceptable. And not only that, there's some specific laws written against that. You can't disrupt religious organizations and services. Specifically,
no, not to target it like that. But however, we continue to give money to all these people. Now, nobody goes out to do the work, the good work or the bad work, without an incentive, and that incentive is always going to be $1. That seems to be. Indeed, if you go on Indeed now, you can be they're paying like $29 to $34 an hour to be a political. They had a special word for it. Basically, a protester.
I know a lot of people do good work without getting paid at all, and you're one of them. I know people that do it all the time.
Well, that's not what that's. I don't like to talk about that.
But that's fine. But I'm telling you, it's not all. Not everyone's getting paid. There's a lot of people out there.
I'm talking about our political stuff that we're doing out there. You know, we continue to send black money. We continue to send. We talk about it. We talk about it. We talk about it. I mean, just the other day, once again, Hillary Clinton. How much money? $138 million was funneled to her in black money, of which $11 million was for her mansion that she lives in, and $3 million for her wedding. That's documented.
Yeah.
That woman should have already been brought in and charged and sitting somewhere awaiting a trial.
Yep. I don't disagree. You know, there's a lot of that stuff that we're aware of that hasn't been tracked down. They're doing more to track it down right now, but I mean, like they are in Minneapolis. But we're a long way from cleaning up the problem.
We need to cut the money chain. We need to freeze George Soros while we're investigating him.
Correct.
Freeze every one of his accounts while he's under investigation.
And that's what the Ways and Means Committee is going to start doing here in about 6 minutes. Is they're going to be sitting down and talking about just that foreign money coming into these organizations to disrupt America.
Well, look at AI. I mean, you were talking about China, having a bad influence on a lot of the stuff that we're doing, but China's also involved in our AI. So these kids, we wonder where these kids get these ideas from, and we're quick to blame a school teacher or whatever. But that damn telephone that we have in our ear was, for all the good it has, it's been a lot of bad come out of it.
Well, it's just a tool. How we use it, we need to be aware, and it's still learning, especially with so much new stuff like AI on how to use those tools properly.
Well, the problem is that it's in the hands of everybody. I don't know. People can. I don't want to compare it to a gun, because everybody can have access to a gun. How you use it determines whether
correct.
You are. So I mean, I don't want to sound.
I think that's a good analogy,
if you will. But yeah, that's where it's at. But I think AI gets more into the mind and can maybe cause that person to flip the switch in their mind. I don't know. I think most people have today right now with how there's so much, so much hate in our country right now.
Oh yeah,
way too much hate. One thing about the Super Bowl, I watched it. It's a money game for me. I buy squares. I don't care who's playing. I don't care. I'm just looking at the squares of where it's at.
Right.
And I like to watch commercials. And I got to tell you, I think that throughout the whole thing of the Super Bowl, most of the commercials were geared to a more loving community and having a little bit more love. Hopefully, it was more of a bringing people together.
I agree with that. I think Budweiser even did nice stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they did, and there were some other ones, helping your neighbor and all that, and carrying stuff in for them.
But that's their tradition. That's the way Super Bowls have always been. It's always been about patriotism and stuff. Budweiser's always been about that, and they were getting off track, and now it looks like they're back on it.
Well, I think the NFL is the one. I mean, Budweiser's always stayed where it's at and how it is, and they learned from Bud Light, which is different. But anyways, I'm not one of those Bad Bunny guys. I mean, I don't know, whatever, but he didn't perform in the dress. Couldn't really know. I mean, spoke everything and sang everything in Spanish, but can tell you he didn't use any bad words.
Oh yeah, he did.
Make any, no, he
I
didn't.
mean, a lot of sexual stuff. Yeah, there was.
Bad words and sexual stuff is one, but I've seen nastier, more skin showing from other halftime shows in the past than this one. And I'm not, by no means am I supporting him and saying he was a great show. You should have watched it if you missed it. But it wasn't as bad or whatever as people said it was going to be. The interesting thing I saw at the very end when he's running through the fields of whatever the hell they were, I thought it was marijuana, but I guess it was something else, sugar cane or something. But the U.S. flag was the first flag all the way through.
But they had all the foreign flags. They had lots of foreign flags, Brazil and Colombia and all kinds of stuff.
You go to embassies and different things.
Sure.
Our flag always flies high and above,
But
he was trying to represent bringing together. And bringing peace and unity together doesn't mean bringing in all illegal aliens either. It's just promoting peace and love. It's not promoting saying, hey, you got to let these people come into the country.
He's
Right?
he's definitely an ICE out guy. I don't know what was said because I didn't watch his thing. But I'd be surprised if there wasn't something in there that alluded to that. But I don't know. I don't speak Spanish, and I don't know.
Yeah, well, I did, and I didn't watch it to analyze it or whatever. It came on and it was there, but it wasn't. At the end, there's only anything more powerful than hate is love.
Well, but yeah, he put that at the end. But it was a failure overall, a failure, and you can.
What was the failure? There's nothing.
The public perception and acceptance was a failure, and there's no way of getting around that. In fact, Bad Buddy's already canceled all his Instagram and he deleted everything on his Instagram because he was getting so much pushback, and there was pushback all over the place. And even people in the stands, there's a lot of pictures of in the stands while he's performing. People are standing around talking about something else or watching their phones and stuff because they didn't find him interesting at all, or they didn't follow it. They didn't understand the language. They didn't understand the music. And it was a failure. Why Goodall would put that in there to entertain the crowd and nobody was entertained? It's a failure.
Why Goodall is still there is a failure.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
I think you're right.
I can remember you and Mel Malatoni talking about the failure of Goodall. And how long has Mel been gone?
Gone wild. I mean, Goodall's been
Quite
there
a while, huh?
way past his expiration date.
Exactly. And like I said, I'm
Hey,
not a bad
I got to run. I'm
follower.
out of time, my friend.
All right.
Take
Have
care.
a good day.
Bye-bye. And I'll be back. AM 560, KBLU.
This is News Talk 560 KBLU, Yuma.
ICE will soon get a lot of heat. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Acting Director Todd Lyons about to be under a lot of scrutiny, especially from Democrats at a House hearing about to start, as they insist on immigration enforcement reform, or else they'll block new funding for Homeland Security when money runs out Friday night. But Republican Congressman Lance Gooden tells Fox.
The big, beautiful bill that we passed last July fully funds and some the ICE operations that Democrats are so angry about.
Fox's Aisha Hosni reports.
Democrats still want those body cameras. They want masks to come off, and they want judicial warrants in their list of 10 demands. Schumer and Jeffries, the two Democratic leaders in the House and Senate, put out this statement. The initial GOP response is both incomplete and insufficient. Republicans say Democrats' demands are unserious.
A win in court for the Trump administration's deportation agenda.
A three-judge Ninth Circuit Appeals Court panel has temporarily lifted a California federal judge's order that had blocked the Trump administration from ending temporary protected status, or TPS, for nearly 89,000 migrants from Honduras, Nepal, and Nicaragua.
That's Fox's Tanya J. Powers. It is day 10 of the search for Nancy Guthrie and her daughter. Today Show host Savannah Guthrie says in a social media video they're reaching an hour of desperation.
We need your help. Law enforcement is working tirelessly around the clock trying to bring her home, trying to find her. She was taken and we don't know where.
A second reported deadline passed yesterday and a ransom note sent to TV outlets, but we know of no contact with whoever kidnapped the 84-year-old from her Tucson, Arizona home. Police have not named a person of interest. At the Winter Olympics, the U.S. has won 3 medals this morning, giving the Team USA 5 in Italy so far. Alex Hall got silver in freestyle skiing, Ben Ogden silver in cross country, and in women's combined skiing, Jacqueline Wiles and Paula Moltzen took the bronze, finishing ahead of their more well-known American teammates Breezy Johnson and Michaela Schifrin. America's listening to Fox News.
Surprise! Your accountant just emailed to say your quarterly taxes are way higher than you were expecting.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting discounts with a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Also, your favorite employee is leaving. They're going to pursue their dream of being a veterinarian.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Following the attacks on 9/11/01, FDNY firefighter Daniel Foley assisted in the rescue and recovery efforts at Ground Zero. Daniel spent months and months searching for victims. Now, Daniel's death was the direct result of 9/11 related cancer. He leaves behind his wife, Carrie, and their children. Tunnel to Towers paid the mortgage on the family's home. Join us. Donate $11 a month to the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Go to their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.
From the News 11's Information Desk, I'm Jelena Aguilera. The Yuma County Sheriff's Office is searching for a hit-and-run driver who injured 2 people Monday morning. The crash happened near East County 18th and a half Street on South Avenue 3E. Authorities say 2 people were standing near the parked vehicles when a red Mazda truck hit both parked vehicles, hitting the victims as well. Both suffered serious injuries and were flown to a Phoenix area hospital. The driver of the Mazda ran away on foot, and deputies are still looking for that person. If you have any information, reach out to YCSO or 78 Crime to remain anonymous. Plus, a 65-year-old man has died after crashing his motorcycle into a median. Yuma police say the man was heading north on Airby Road Saturday afternoon when he hit the median for unknown reasons. He was taken to Onvita Health and later flown to a Phoenix hospital where he died. The Yuma Police Department is reminding motorcyclists to stay alert and to ride safely. Catch us on the TV side on News 11 every weekday at 5, 6, and 10 p.m. for your latest local news, weather, and sports.
We're the comfort experts, people you can trust. Ask our customers. That's why they count on us. Over 50 years of service, keep us going strong. We've got a name you can depend upon. Hamburger, refrigeration, and electric. Hamburger, count on us.
There's a man in D.C.
He's fighting for you. He's fighting for me.
AM 560 KBLU, Russ Clark with you. The phone lines were open, but not now. Let me grab one. You're on the air.
Hey, Russ.
Good morning.
You know, these kids that protested ICE, okay?
Okay.
What we ought to do is all the conservative kids ought to have their own, quote, assembly or whatever you want to call it, thanking ICE for the job they're doing, thanking our law enforcement for the job they're doing. And, you know, where's all those kids? Where's all those people?
Good point. Yeah, we should have them skip school a day, go out
Exactly.
and do a thank you.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what they should do.
Good idea, but they'd probably put the hammer down on those. They'd be unexcused and have detention, maybe.
Well, they ought to do that to the kids that did protesting ICE. Okay. That's what they ought to do.
Great point. Yeah.
Last week, one of your callers said have them do a report on ICE and everything.
Yeah, that was a great idea.
Well,
It's Gilbert, I
make
think.
sure they write it in cursive, because then they'll be totally screwed up. Okay. No more computer. Just write it in cursive on a piece of paper, and there you go.
They don't even teach cursive anymore.
No, they don't.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
good. Well, we should write everything in cursive. They'd be confused. They'd never be able to read it.
Well, yeah. And have them all drive a stick shift and see what happens.
Oh, my goodness. I appreciate the call.
Hang on, one more thing.
Yeah, ma'am.
Kennedy Pool.
Yeah.
I listened or I read what the mayor wrote about voting no or not even to talk about it or what have you.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds like the mayor and the city council members have got something else that he wants to do with that property. He's just not willing to tell us.
I think they were willing to tell us at one time, and I got it from them at one time that they were going to put a pool in somewhere else, that this wasn't the best location for one. And they were going to concrete this one over and put in a splash zone for the kids. They would just get to run through the water. But they didn't do that after the people complained, and it's just been sitting idle. I think they're waiting until the anger goes away or the disagreement goes away, and then one day we'll go in there and it'll be bulldozed up and concreted over, and it'll be a splash zone.
Why take a pool out when the kids have that pool to use in that area? Okay. I swam at it when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, it was 50 cents, and we'd spend all summer long every day, 12 to 3:45.
The word is that the pipes in the ground are in bad shape and they need to be replaced, which is good. They say they have to chop up all the pool to do that, and you don't. I talked to pool people. Said, Russ,
Yes, you did. You had one on your program.
Yeah.
And you said it wouldn't take that much to do.
No.
And just who did the city council get to give them that estimate of the however many millions of dollars it'd take to do that?
Somebody favorable, but I don't know who it was. But yeah, it came out to millions of dollars, and I got a copy of it at one time, and it was just ridiculous. I was talking about demolishing the pool and rebuilding it. But you don't have to do that. You can put the piping in, and I had guys in here that are experts at it, and that's what they do. And they said, no, man, we can even re-sleeve it. They do something without even taking it out of the ground. And I had them go talk to the city, and they didn't want to talk to them.
It's sad to see that they're wanting to get rid of that pool. It really is.
Yeah. Well, they're letting it sit idle long enough till you forget about it, and then they'll bulldoze it. And then they'll build one where they want it. And it's going to be in one of the newer developments on the outskirts of town versus on the inner city where those kids have no way to go. They don't have the funds and stuff that some of the nicer neighborhoods have on the outside. And they don't have a pool in the backyard. And I think it's misguided myself.
I think it's just almost just like that PAC Center. Why build that PAC Center when you had a perfectly good ball field at Ray Kroc Complex, and you could have updated that, saved probably a whole lot of money.
Yeah,
and be able to use it, but they wanted to change it to soccer fields.
Oh, that lasted a month. No, I agreed with the PAC Center because we did need more fields. I mean, we use them all. They use them all. They still use the Civic Center for practices and stuff like that. And they use the Catholic high school. There's a lot of facilities because we just don't have enough of them. The PAC Center is right on the highway, and it was to attract out-of-town visitors to come into conventions and stuff when they do tournaments, like softball tournaments, which we've had a lot of. It's been a great success.
Yeah. But you could have, you don't say they could have routed that to how many ball fields are at the Ray Kroc Complex? 6?
I don't know.
At least I know if I can remember right, there's at least 3 to 5.
Yeah. There's a lot of them, and they're used all the time. They don't have the main one anymore. They turned it into a soccer field, the one where the bleachers are.
Right.
Yeah. Of course, it
makes no sense.
It would be easy to put some bases out there and start playing ball, but they don't. But I think the PAC made sense, even if they keep Ray Kroc, because we expanded so much, we needed more fields. And I think it's ideally located to the hotels and the shopping and bringing people from out of town, which it was booked, particularly during COVID. California teams were begging to get more usage, and they limited them because we had to have it for local tournaments.
Okay.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, I'll get off my soapbox.
No, you're not wrong. You're right to look at it and ask those questions. Absolutely. No, I appreciate the call.
All right.
Thanks, man. Bye-bye. I'm going to talk about the Olympics a little bit. I've been watching, and I normally don't take the time, but my wife Helen's been interested, so I've enjoyed it. And one of the things we watched was the downhill, which I'll get back to, but I left the phones on. Let me take his phone call. You're on the air.
Hey, sorry to call you again, Russ, but I was thinking about, you were talking about indoctrinations this morning about kids and this and that. You know, kids have been indoctrinated way, way back in the 1600s and the Roman. Kids are indoctrinated. Why do you think the people hated Indians so much?
Sure.
They hated blacks. They hated browns. They hated anything but their own. It's indoctrination.
Yeah, we don't grow up with prejudice. It's not in the DNA. We learn it. We learn that.
Yeah, we are taught. We are taught that. Exactly.
Yeah.
So all this about this indoctrination has been happening forever.
Yeah.
Forever. You know, so I thought I'd just throw that out there.
Well, I'm agreeing with you, but Hitler did a lot of it and all that, and we do it in our own schools about patriotism, to teach them history, teach them patriotism, teach all that. Unfortunately, that's going away, and we're teaching them wokeness, and that's a danger.
Remember, they taught kids it's okay to have slaves. It's okay to mistreat people.
It's worse than that. Yeah, we even did it in the churches, and there were people that twisted scripture to do that, and we gave. I mean, the pastors would all go give sermons to the slaves, and tell them to calm down and accept the punishment from your master because you probably deserve it, and those kind of things.
Right. Well, look, Russ, how many Native Americans died because churches?
I think they do more good than bad. I don't. I mean, there's some churches that get off like Koretz or something. But
when they first came, the Indians were considered heathens because they didn't know the Lord. They did not know the Lord, so they were heathens.
Well, yeah,
that's how they were treated.
Man, there's some dark times in churches too, the Middle Ages and all that stuff. Yeah, there are. We're human, of course.
Yes, we're talking about it happened because indoctrination. They were indoctrinated to think that way,
but we're all indoctrinated to a sense because we only know what we've been taught.
Exactly.
And so that's and whoever wants to indoctrinate you will teach you only what they want you to know, and they leave all that other out so that you don't have choices. And part of what I do on the show, I hope, is to bring the complete story, unlike a lot of mainstream press, which will twist and only and pick certain facts to push you in a direction, which I hope to not do necessarily, even though I'm a conservative and I'll tell you that. But
I know, listening to your show, you spoke enough that when you went home, you weren't able to sit down because you were chewed out so bad.
None of that bothers me, Gilbert. That's just normal.
I know that. I know that.
I expect pushback, and I accept it. Unlike a lot of your left-wing shows would never allow that.
No,
but I think we're big enough on the right to want to understand all those viewpoints, including those that aggressively disagree with me. I think I put them on the air on purpose just to make sure we know what we're dealing with out in the real world.
Just like that kid that took down the ice at Carl's house. It was a thought. Someone thought it. Then all of a sudden, hey, that's a good idea. And then I wouldn't doubt that this kid was talked into doing it more.
Yeah.
And he did it, and now he has to pay. Your actions, you got to face your consequences with your actions.
Well, and that's something we don't teach enough of on this left-wing ideology. They're training people to break the law and saying it's okay because we need civil unrest, and they're calling it civil unrest and all that stuff. It also means jail time, buddy.
What I like to know is when did the word protest really come out? Was that during the 60s? 50s?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
I know it's more from addressing the government or but they don't use the word necessarily protest. But at some point it became within a lexicon and something that we all understand and use. But the left is trying to include protest to be civil disobedience and as a protest, which I guess it is in a sense. But it's not. It goes beyond protest at that point because you're breaking the law.
Right. Yeah. All right, Russ.
Thank you,
I'll
buddy.
catch you on the rebound.
Take care. Bye. Bye. As Mr. Gilbert, let me take a quick break. I'll be right back.
Forecast for today: 81 for the high, partly cloudy skies, becoming cloudy Tuesday afternoon. Winds out of the southeast at 10 to 20, overcast and 58 for tonight. Wednesday, cloudy and 76, cloudy and 54 for tomorrow night.
All right, do-it-yourselfer, you've got the idea, and you got your building supplies at Southwest Lumber.
That's right.
Now, all you need is a bunch of expensive tools to get the job done.
Oh, that's right.
And just the place to rent them. Southwest Lumber, your home for everything home improvement. Southwest Lumber has half-day to multiple-day rentals available on just about anything you need to finish the job. Rent equipment and tools on Saturday and Sunday, it's free. Stop in today at 1917 South Avenue B in Yuma. Southwest Lumber, ready for everything.
Listen to KBLU from 8 to 9 every Monday morning to Life, Death, and the Law. Sean Garner and Adam Hansen discuss estate planning options. Learn how you can plan your estate using a will or trust to protect your family and secure your legacy. That's Life, Death, and the Law every Monday, 8 to 9 a.m. on 560 KBLU.
Hey, y'all, mark your calendar and get ready.
AM 560 KBL. You, Russ Clark with you, and I have Jonathan Townsend Alexander on the phone. Good morning, Jonathan.
Well, good morning, Russ. How you guys doing?
I'm doing well. What kind of trouble are you causing now?
Well, I'm going to be down in your area on the 24th through the 28th.
Okay.
Yes. And how about doing that border trip with us?
How about doing what now?
The border trip with us. You know, down on the
Oh,
border.
I'd be glad to take a trip with you, man. That'd be fun.
Awesome. All right. Then maybe I'll pop into your news studio down there.
Sure.
And then maybe we can do a show together while we're at it.
We can get all that arranged. And what are you looking for? Are you looking for, some stuff that's still going on that's not supposed to, or do you suspect there's still trouble that we're not talking?
Well, we got some intel where we're going to go.
Uh-huh.
I'm not going to mention names, but
Okay.
I'll talk to you about it off there.
Sure.
And there's a lot of activity there right now.
Okay. No, I'm very interested. I'll take the time out, and we'll go take a look.
So, all right. Just wanted to make sure that's in your schedule.
Absolutely. Where are you right now?
I'm over in Kingman, Arizona right now.
Kingman. Okay. You're not on the border then.
No, not today.
Okay. I didn't know if you were out, following ice around or something. But.
Well, no. No, actually, they like to on the right side. I can tell you that.
Okay, well, you take it easy then and enjoy yourself, and I'll see you on the 24th.
All right, but we'll be doing a live broadcast on the 23rd from the Tucson Center.
Okay.
And then I'll share that with you as well. There's a lot of problems in Tucson.
And okay, and I know there's areas they don't have fencing, and there's probably needs a lot of attention there. But
right. Well, we get over by staff to be right there, which is about probably 45 minutes to an hour from Tucson.
Mm-hmm.
It's right on the border. That's a very hot spot right now, and there's a lot of issues there. But we're going to broadcast it live so the world can see it.
Well, stay safe, and to find you you're on Facebook, X. Where are you?
Well, you can also find me on yournewsarizona.com. Find me on Facebook under Jonathan Townsend Alexander, and then my YouTube channels, Your News Arizona, and then also on Facebook we're under Your News Arizona as well.
Okay.
And then also now we're going to be live on the Q broadcast, and I'll talk to you about that later as well. I'd like to bring you live on our TV network as well.
All right. Well, I'll see you later this month, buddy.
All right, Russ, and I'll call you this afternoon. I want to talk to you about a few things.
Absolutely. Give me a buzz.
All right,
thanks, man. Bye-bye.
Have a great show.
All right. As Jonathan, and he spent a lot of time on the border exposing what was going on during the Biden administration. But apparently he's not done. He's got more he wants to do. So that's good. Olympics. I was watching started watching female downhill, and got to know a lot about Lindsey Vonn. Lindsey Vonn's United States skier, 41 years old, and highly rated. Was looking for some more gold and looking for some more Olympic stuff to happen. She's not ready to give up, even though she had some serious injuries, and I'll tell you more about it. I left the phone lines on, so I'm going to take it. You're on the air.
Hello, Russ Fernando.
Hey, Fernando, what are you up to?
I got a question. Gutierrez, the one that's 2 weeks.
Boutier is the one that's running for Congress?
No. The one that's kidnapped.
Oh.
Gutierrez.
The lady from California or Tucson, yeah, Tucson.
Yeah. I hope that the captures are not illegal. That's when the poop is going to hit the fan.
I think from
That's
what
all
from what I've heard is there's a likelihood that it's something more sinister and it might be family involved. But they're not saying anything officially. But this is from a lot of retired FBI agents and a lot of investigators, former police officers that have been engaged in this. In fact, even veteran Dave called me yesterday and talked a little bit on air that it doesn't really match kidnapping profile. It's nothing like that. So either it's something brand new, but it just seems like there's something else going on there, and it could be something sinister from inside the family.
Yeah, because if abducted her from her house, she would have made a struggle, but she went quietly, right?
Well, there was blood outside the house, so there was something physical that happened, and but all the cameras were taken down for some reason, and so somebody knew where the cameras were, so it had to be somebody that had knowledge.
Yeah.
And
Inside job.
it's also explained that she was so well known, so well loved by the community. She wouldn't have been a good target for that reason because it brings too much attention, and also that she's 84 years old with some serious health issues, and if somebody dies, it's a murder charge. It's not kidnapping; it's murder.
Yep.
So, for a lot of reasons, she wouldn't be ideal. If you were really into kidnapping for money, you'd find a different target. From what I understand from the experts, it's not my news, but it's some. I've been looking at everyone else's. So who knows? Who knows? We're going to find out. There's too much interest. There's too many people that are on top of it.
Well, you got some right answers, that's for sure. I got to leave. I'm driving, okay? Talk to you later.
See you, man. Bye-bye. So I don't think it was Fernando that kidnapped her. And it's just a terrible situation. And nothing would be better than to find her alive. But every day that goes by, that becomes more questionable. She doesn't even have her medication, which is life-threatening to not take. And she's been gone. Has it been 10 days or so? I'm not sure exact dates, but it's been a while. And I know we passed another deadline. The deadline was yesterday, wasn't it? Give us 5 million in Bitcoin or else type stuff. But and Bitcoin doesn't make any sense either. Olympic skiing, this Lindsey Vonn, who is 41 years old, and she's missing her ACL. I don't know how she skis with that, whatever, but she crashed. She crashed at the top of the mountain, which was terrible. She hit a gate, one of the flags. And she gives a statement here. She said, "It wasn't a storybook ending or a fairy tale. It was just life. I dared to dream and had worked so hard to achieve it because in downhill ski racing, the difference between a strategic line and a catastrophic injury can be as small as 5 inches. I was simply 5 inches too tight on my line when my right arm hooked inside the gate, twisting me and resulted in my crash. My ACL and past injuries have nothing to do with my crash whatsoever." After the crash, she underwent surgeries to stabilize a fracture reported in her left leg. A complex tibia fracture that is currently stable and will require multiple surgeries to fix properly. And she was airlifted out, and they're ready for those. I didn't realize how fast they're going, but they were hitting speeds of over 80 miles an hour going down that mountain. And when she went out of control, she went down hard, obviously to break her leg. But she's also 41. I don't know if she has the same bone strength that someone younger has. Don't know. Maybe she does. But many wondered how she ski anyway with a ruptured ACL. And but she was determined to medal. That was her best event. She wanted to go. She doesn't have any regrets. While yesterday did not end the way I hoped, and despite the intense physical pain it caused, I have no regrets. Standing in the starting gate yesterday was an incredible feeling that I will never forget. Knowing I stood there having a chance to win was a victory in and of itself. I also knew that racing was a risk. It always was and always will be an incredibly dangerous sport. Similar to ski racing, we take risk in life. We dream, we love, we jump, and sometimes we fall. Sometimes our hearts are broken. Sometimes we don't achieve the dreams we know we could have. But that is also the beauty of life. We can try. I tried, I dreamt, I jumped. I hope you take away anything from my journey. It's that you all have the courage to dare greatly. Life is too short not to chance on yourself, because the only failure in life is not trying. Pretty amazingly nice. And you expect that from an Olympic. Somebody that represents a country, somebody that puts it all out there and has such a attitude of winning and support and all that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, it's not all the athletes are like that. And there's been a highlight of a few athletes that went up to a microphone to tell everybody how much they disliked some things in the United States, and that they couldn't align themselves with certain actions, and just because they wear the flag doesn't they mean they agree with everything and all that kind of stuff. Absolutely horrid to see that, to go there and represent a country on foreign policy, on foreign lands, and then bitch about actions going on within the country. It's not the time. You're there. You're there as a gift. I mean, you have a gift in athleticism. You have a gift in an ability, and a gift in a country that wants you to represent them. And then you go in there and just do that. One of them was Hunter Hess. He's an American skier. He got up and said some things. Let me see. He says he had mixed emotions about representing the U.S. It brings up mixed emotions to represent the U.S. right now. I think it's a little hard. There's obviously a lot going on that I'm not the biggest fan of. And I think a lot of people aren't. I think for me, it's more I'm representing my friends and family back home, the people that represented it before me. All the things I believe that are good about the U.S. if it aligns with my moral values. I feel like I'm representing it because just because I'm wearing the flag doesn't mean I represent everything that's going on in the U.S. I just kind of want to do it for my friends and my family and the people that support me getting here. Donald Trump commented on him, said he's a real loser. Obviously, we're all losers. We lost an opportunity to have an Olympic skier that represented us, and Hunter Hess has no intention of representing us. And there was a few others that carefully worded it and didn't use names like Trump or policies or immigration or Minneapolis or anything. But they danced around it thinking it would give them cover. Well, it didn't give them cover from those that are paying attention, that are saying, like, we made a mistake to let you go represent us. Well, now he's appearing to backtrack on his mixed emotions. Probably because of Donald Trump even jumping in and just say he's a loser. Just left it at that, and I think that was enough. But after a few days, Hess made clear what he meant to wear the red, white, and blue on one of the biggest stages in sports. I love my country. He wrote with an American flag emoji. There's so much that is great about America, but there's always things that could be better. One of the many things that makes this country so amazing is that we have the right to the freedom to point that out. The best part of the Olympics is that it brings people together. And when so many of us are divided, we need that more than ever. I cannot wait to represent Team USA next week when I compete. That was fairly weak. Obviously, he felt compelled to do it. He even mentions in his apology, it's not really an apology, that there's so much is great about America, but there's always things that could be better. Okay, we got you. Always things could be better. And one of the many things that makes this country amazing, just one, is the freedom to point it out that they suck, I guess, for Hess. Hunter Hess pointed out that it sucks. I mean, he's been given so many gifts, and part of that gift is his abilities, and all the people that supported him and all that. And maybe all the ones that supported him hate America. I don't know. I don't think so. I think there's a lot of patriotism within the Olympics, and the people that strive for those kinds of things, they do it for a country. They do. They represent a country. They don't represent their friends and family. I mean, it's lovely to have those friends and family along to share that. But if you notice, when you look at the Olympics and watch the people in attendance, the friends and families are pointed out all the time. They're wearing the flag, embroidered in sweaters, on their front shirt pocket, on their hats. They're all USA. but not Hunter Hess. He may wear it, but I think that's just part of the uniform. I don't think his emotions are there. I wish him well, and I hope he learned something from it. I doubt it, though. I doubt it. I think he hates America. He should be on the world team. I just do it for the world, the one world order team, which is communism, socialism. I think he should change his insignia. I don't know that I'm in favor of calling him back and saying you're off the team, but I'm sure there's some people that think that probably would like to see him just gone and not a distraction from the games. Phone lines are open, 928-344-5258. Trump says he's going to block the U.S.-Canada bridge. I didn't know which one he was talking about at first when he says the bridge. There's a new bridge being built right now, and Donald Trump on Monday threatened to prevent the opening of that bridge. It's going to connect Michigan and Canada. Well, it's not going to open unless Ottawa negotiates with Washington on tariffs and the exclusion of American products. Trump accused Canada of taking advantage of the United States with unfair trade practices and cozying up to China in an effort to bring Canada to the negotiation table. Trump said he would not allow opening the Gordie Howe International Bridge. Now, that bridge is named after a legendary Canadian ice hockey player who played for the Detroit Red Wings. It's currently under construction. It's going to connect Detroit and Windsor, Ontario. Trump wrote on social media, "I will not allow this bridge to open until the United States is fully compensated for everything we have given them. And also importantly, Canada treats the United States with the fairness and respect we deserve. We will start negotiations immediately," all caps. "With all that we have given them, we should own perhaps at least one half of this asset." One half of the bridge. Okay. He cited the removal of U.S. alcohol products from Canada liquor store shelves in Ontario. Trump previously accused Canada of taking advantage of U.S. trade policies in this post. Yeah, no U.S. alcohol products are allowed in Canada. They stopped importing them. Trump says Canada's moved forward building the bridge with virtually no U.S. content. He's blaming Barack Obama for stupidity in giving Canada a waiver so they could get around the Buy American Act, which mandates federal agencies purchase materials that are manufactured in the U.S. and made mostly from U.S. produced components. Trump said Canada not using American products, including steel. Now the Canadian government expects me, as President of the United States, to permit them to take full advantage of America. What does the United States of America get? Absolutely nothing. Ontario won't even put U.S. spirits, beverages, and other alcoholic products on their shelves. They are absolutely prohibited from doing so. And now, on top of everything else, Prime Minister Carney wants to make a deal with China, which will eat Canada alive. We'll just get the leftovers. I don't think so. By cozying up to Canada, or cozying up to China, Canada would be risking its national sport, ice hockey. I don't know how you tie that in, but I'm curious. I'm sure he's got a reason for saying it, but maybe. He said the first thing China will do is terminate all ice hockey being played in Canada and permanently eliminate the Stanley Cup. That sounds a little far-fetched, Mr. President, but I'm sure you're reading reports I don't know about, but I'd like to see why they would do that, if that's something they've done in the past or whatever. Right now, we've got another government shutdown lurking, possible, probable, I think, but I don't know. I have no idea. But there's a DHS problem right now. What's going on? You know, the Democrats want ICE shut down. They don't like police authority and all the stuff that ICE does, and they're using Minneapolis as an example. And Minneapolis is an example because paid antagonists are out there. Because ICE isn't having problems in other states. It's there. I don't know how that can't become obvious to people. But if they don't pass a DHS bill, remember it was separated when they did all the other bills. Yeah, the DHS was separate because that's what the Democrats wanted to pass any kind of funding, was to have DHS changed, ICE changed or shut down. State Republicans received Senate Democrats' partisan wish list of demands over the weekend. The White House sent over its own counterproposal, but several lawmakers aren't clear what was in the package as of Monday night. John Thune, now he's the Senate Majority Leader, wouldn't say, but noted that congressional Democrats and the White House were trading papers and signaled that the back and forth activity was a good sign of negotiations moving forward. But lawmakers aren't out of the woods. Senate Democrats demanded a 2-week funding extension for the Department of Homeland Security. Congress has until Friday. Today's Tuesday. They got till Friday to avert a shutdown and little time to actually move a short-term patch from one side of the building to the other. Republicans are mulling another short-term extension. I mean, they're looking to extend the extension, thinking there just isn't time to get through this nonsense. Who knows what's going to happen? Thune says, I think based on what I'm familiar with about the decision so far, I think there is, a chance of getting it done, but we'll know more when the proposal comes back. Let's have a chance to evaluate it. He planned to tee up another CR on Tuesday, continuing resolution. That's today, but noted that the length would have to be negotiated. But let's see what the next day brings. We'll go from there. Here's the Democrats' prime objective: reining in immigration and customs enforcement. They don't like ICE. The proposal they submitted included a bridge too far. That's what Republicans think, that it's too much, including requiring ICE to get judicial warrants. Well, here's what I think. That would be fine if all police officers, every time they arrest somebody, has to have a judicial warrant, which is never going to happen. You can't do that to your police force. ICE is a police force. They should operate as any other police force. But somehow they want to put handcuffs on ICE and say you need to demask and have identification ready. Well, they don't always identify them. They identify as ICE. If you've ever seen some of the shenanigans going on, they're wearing jackets and vests and say that ICE police and have badges on them. They want their names so they can dox them. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
All right, time for a new subject. Maybe already discussed, but I think the whole Bad Bunny performance was a giant middle finger to the establishment. Back in the day, the hippies were anti-establishment. Now the hippies are in charge. But the NFL is losing viewership in the United States. They're having to have games elsewhere, and they're having to look for new markets.
Well, that's why Bad Bunny's on there. It's not to appeal to the United States. They don't care. It's to appeal to the soccer crowd. It's those guys. That's why it's in a foreign language and they have foreign flags. They're looking to go to Colombia. They're looking to put NFL in other places. And I think they're ignoring their base, just like Bud Light did. Ignored the base because we want new customers.
It's not just solely ignoring the base. They're losing their base.
Yeah.
Started with the kneeling and a lot of anti-police sentiment back in the day. That was over 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
And they are struggling to maintain the same level of profits that either they were used to or they would like. And they're having to go outside of the U.S.
Yes, they want they want soccer to be like a World Cup, like a World Super Bowl versus a United States Super Bowl, and they're willing to trash the fans here in order to get that, and they're going to become more like soccer.
And the only way they're going to get put in check is if they're treated like we treated Bud Light.
Right.
Which I'm not sure that that's really going to happen. I quit watching years ago. I used to follow the Seahawks regularly, but it probably doesn't hurt that they haven't been great for a while.
They're pretty good now, man.
I understand,
Yeah.
but I've only seen the first half of 2 games this last season, and the first one was just a couple weeks ago, when they won the NFC Championship. I just stayed till halftime, and then I left. And then the second one was this Super Bowl Sunday. Again, at halftime, I got up, and you would have been proud of me. I yelled out to the assembled crowd, "Enjoy Bad Bunny," as I was walking out. People, all the old snowbirds were looking at me like, "What? What is he?" They had no idea. And many of them, I'm sure, were, Seattle has an awful lot of Democrat followers and woke people all throughout the Pacific Northwest. Love Seattle. So I probably offended some, but I don't care. I made my point and I exited, and I didn't watch the halftime show. So I've heard some translations of his lyrics, and oh my gosh. Another thing I saw on Facebook is that NBC should be fined. And if it was in English, they would have been. But because it's in Spanish, I guess they're getting away with it.
Amazing. Yeah. Some of the excerpts I have, I don't know all of it, but some of it that's Glenn Beck's repeated and others have repeated. If that was in English, the FCC would have pulled the plug.
Yeah. But there wasn't. And he got to give his giant middle finger to President Trump. And President Trump wasn't even, knew better to even show up in San Francisco for the scene that would have been caused in the booing and all of the negative if he would have gone to that last Super Bowl.
Right. It's a shame. It's a shame that it happened.
Yep. It's a shame the world we live in, buddy, but I don't think I personally believe biblical prophecy says it's going to get worse before it gets any better.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. The left is not apologizing for any of it. They're just saying get over it.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
See you, man.
I'll let you go.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, first he got me off track, which is okay. I put the phone on. I'll take it. As far as the government shutdown goes on and what's going on for this DHS deal, they want to dox these agents, which would put them all in danger. Take off your mask, which they don't require that, which is hilarious. They don't require that of their own police forces. They even did that in Texas. They made a law that ICE agents aren't allowed to wear masks. But they didn't include their police officers, their sheriff's office. They didn't include that. They just said ICE officers. So it got thrown out. The courts just ruled on that. They blocked that law. Federal judge says, no, that's not acceptable. And it was called the No Secret Police Act. Should have been called No Secret Police Act unless it's our secret police. But they've got to do that to protect themselves. So that's part of the Democrats' proposal is that demask and have identification ready, which means you have to give identification to people. Here's my name and address and who I am or something. Some of the GOP Republicans are warning that would lead to more agents getting doxxed. That's what they want. They want these agents in more harm's way. What is the amount of increase in attacks on ICE officers? Like more than 1,000%. Because of this left-wing politics of we hate ICE, attack them. Chuck Schumer has warned that the clock is ticking for Republicans to respond. You got to do it or we're going to shut you down. We have sent you our proposals, and they are exceedingly reasonable. I hope our colleagues on the other side, many of whom, at least here in the Senate, recognize that some things need to change. Show that we're ready to act in a meaningful way. Well, when you say you want something to do, I mean, I think this federal judge was right in the California law that you can't put some rules on ICE that would be totally unacceptable for your own police forces. How can you even with a straight face recommend that and put these wonderful men and women in trouble? And they're already in trouble. They're already doing heroes work to go after some of the worst and the bad guys and Trinda Agua and stuff. And they know every time they knock on a door, it's definitely bad people because they already got the jackets. And then you want them to also be ducking from other agencies, and I mean these nonprofit agencies and other people when wishing to do them harm. It's unacceptable. I would say no. You can't do this. A White House official, President Trump, has said President Trump has been consistent. He wants the government open. The administration has been working with both parties to ensure the American people don't have to endure another drawn-out, senseless, and hurtful shutdown. But the scope and scale of possible third closure would be limited to just DHS, but would really only have an effect on FEMA, TSA, and the Coast Guard. And other priorities, I think, under the agency's umbrella. That's because ICE and immigration operations are flush with billions from Trump's big, beautiful bill. So you're not going to shut DHS down, but you'll be shut down Coast Guard, TSA, FEMA. To say that the security of America is not paramount, I think would be a huge mistake for the Democrats. And I certainly hope that they'll continue to operate in good faith. That was from Senator Katie Britt from Alabama, Republican, and the chair of the Homeland Security panel. Because you do realize ICE and Customs Border Patrol would continue to be funded. And I say things could get complicated quickly in the upper chamber. Lawmakers are set to leave Washington, D.C. for a long recess on Thursday. Deadline's Friday. They're set to leave on Thursday. And many are headed overseas to the Munich Security Conference. So Thune says that the start of the day of deadline lasts through the weekend and warned that it was possible he would cancel the upcoming recess. I think he should. I mean, make these guys work 24 hours and 7 days a week till we get this thing figured out on how to protect ICE and protect citizens and to get the criminals taken care of. Whatever that is. Say, look, we'll compromise. We'll let your police forces go knock on the doors, arrest them, and you just bring them to us. Whatever it is. But exposing ICE to danger, putting these people's lives on the line, or making them go get a warrant when it's unacceptable to make your, I mean, they already have warrants. They got executive warrants for arrest. And then after that, they got probable cause. I mean, if you're in a building or you're in a place picking up a known wanted criminal and he's with a group of people, you have a right to interview them just like any police force would. Just like if you're in a bank robbery. I was in a bank robbery once. I didn't have anything to do with the robbery. I was at the counter trying to open up an account. I didn't even know the robbery happened. It wasn't like the movies where they screamed, this is a robbery. I didn't even know it was happening. I went to the front door to walk out and it was locked. And I was confused and I had to stay and answer questions. Thune warned that it was possible, but he would cancel the upcoming recess, especially if there was little progress towards avoiding a DHS shutdown. Yes, absolutely cancel it. Get to work. Get it done. Some Democrats believe that the ball is in the GOP court and are waiting for their counterparts to act. Well, go ahead and think that, Democrats. And maybe the ball is, but it's time to hit the ball back and say, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, and say, we're not going to put these guys in danger, and we're not going to take them off the streets. We're not going to stop arresting criminals. So help us figure out a way to get that all done. And then we'll have a deal. And if we have to cancel the conferences and leave and time off until then, do it. Make these guys stay at work and do their job. Chris Murphy from a Democrat out of Connecticut says, I think they're pretty reasonable. And he's a top Democrat with Homeland Security Appropriations panel on the Senate. We did not ask for the moon. We asked for targeted but impactful changes in a way that ICE is terrorizing American citizens. Now, see, right there, when you start labeling them as terrorizing American citizens, and you're not looking at the whole picture, like where the terror is really coming from. So obviously, we're willing to negotiate. Well, that's nice of you, Chris. After you call our ICE agents who are doing heroic things for us terrorist, really, you call them terrorist. And you're saying you're not asking for the moon. It's all reasonable and all that. Making them take off their mask, which police forces don't have to do, so they can be doxxed. Making them have identification so they can give everybody their IDs. So let's get all your police officers do that. Making them have a warrant, a judicial warrant, not an executive warrant, but a judicial warrant for any arrest. It's nearly impossible. We'll make your normal police force do that, and then nobody would be arrested, or very few. We'd have to hire a lot more judges. But it's ridiculous, and it's not required. It's not necessary according to the laws. They have a deportation order. They have an executive warrant to be called in. That's the way they've operated. That's the way police forces operate. And they want to change that just for ICE. I think that judge was right in California to block it. So you can't have one rule for ICE and another one for other police agencies. Well, we'll send that ruling back to Chris there from Connecticut. We'll be right back. AM 560.
Hey, y'all, mark your calendar and get ready to experience the flavors and fun of New Orleans right here in Yuma. Fort Yuma Rotary, along with Alexander Toyota, Burgers and Beer, and Carnes Law, proudly presents Mardi Gras on Main, Friday, February 13th from 5 to 11 p.m. in historic downtown Yuma. Enjoy live entertainment by Eric Sage's Ultimate Rock Show, tons of vendors, and a special kids area, all at a free family-friendly event. So grab your beads, dress in your best Mardi Gras fashion, and come celebrate Mardi Gras on Main. All proceeds support Fort Yuma Rotary's community projects.
AM 560 KBL. You have only got 5 minutes. It's 5 minutes till 9. It's unfortunate because then I have to go to work. That's all right. Phone lines are open for the last 5 minutes anyway. 928-344-5258. A little bit more about this No Secret Police Act. That's a California law that was passed, signed by Gavin Newsom, to called No Secret Police, No Secret Police. And they said that, let me see, this is Judge Christina Snyder ruled that it was not acceptable. But the ruling hinged on California exempting its own state officers while penalizing federal agents. And that's what they're wanting to do in Congress right now. Penalize ICE and not the agencies that in the states. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Russ, Ted again.
What do you want, Ted?
I think our representatives and all need to learn how to read. Why? I don't think they got past second grade, because in Article 1 it says that they're to define and punish piracies and felonies committed on high seas, okay? And offenses against the law of nations. Well, they better read that real good before they start pandering to this stuff about, next thing you know, we'll have Putin over here declare he wants to become a United States citizen and we're going to protect him.
I hope not.
Well, they better read that Constitution a little bit better, especially the ones wandering around the Capitol building with their little booklets in their hands.
Yeah.
Because that right there gives us every reason or every right on and off U.S. land.
But them protecting
against the laws of nations, we have the right. We have the right to protect other countries too.
But right now, the Democrats are protecting criminals over citizens. Period. There's no other way to look at it. They're protecting.
That's called accessory. That's accessory to the crime.
Yeah. Well, it's legal if you're in the Senate, I guess. But it's unbelievable that goes on. And they do it openly. Governors, mayors, and the populace, even 70+% of Democrats wants the illegals gone. They want them gone.
Well, I'm getting sick and tired of Jeffries running around the Capitol building with that little booklet in his hand with a little air tags inside of it. He's an idiot. He cannot read. He doesn't understand. He can't comprehend. He needs to be thrown out of Congress.
Yeah, I think he can probably read, but he's got a different vocabulary source on what words mean, I guess, because certainly his interpretation is way off base as far as I'm concerned. I agree.
Well, I just wanted to point out that one thing in Article 1, Section 8.
Thank you, buddy.
That we have a responsibility to the rest of the world, too.
All right.
You know? Thank you.
Be good. Now, Gavin Newsom, who signed the bill, considers ruling a win. Well, because the court allowed part of it. The No Vigilantes Act to remain in effect, which mandates all officers show agencies affiliation and a personal identifier such as a badge number. Which I think they already do that. They all have sewn badges on their chest. They all have, from what I can see, what I've witnessed, TV, they all have ICE, police, and all that all over them. We said that's a great win. We got to win. Framing the discussion as a victory for his policy goals, despite the court striking down the other weird measures. He's patting himself on the back. A federal court upheld California's law requiring agents to identify themselves. A clear win for the rule of law. No badge and no name mean no accountability. I think they meant badge number. But we'll see. And that doesn't mean every protester comes up and says, show me your ID. That would create a lot of havoc and stop them from doing their jobs. I'm going to take a break because it's the end of the show. I'll be back tomorrow. AM 560 KBLU. Thanks for listening.
There's a man in D.C.